Oh, oh, hello. It's that time again. It's that time again where we read more post-fantasy, except this time we're on chapter fucking 4, which means it's never gonna fucking end. I think I saw Bob in chat earlier. Hello, Bob. Hello, Shadow of Al. Hello, Miles Regal. Why does the elevator weigh so much? Because it's made of metal, obviously. Okay. I don't have chat on screen yet, which is an issue. It's a problem. It's real. Oh, right, you said... Wait, no, wait. Got Shadow Evil. Evolve. Okay. It's one of those edgy spellings. Gotcha. Let me get chat up here quick. There we go. Let's get rid of the Estelle faces real quick just to make sure we're on live chat, because we are not on live chat. Bring that up. There we go. Let's bring the Estelle faces right back, because I don't even know why they're still here. They were here for like a whole year, and they didn't need to be, because we weren't playing Trails until the 30th of September when we started Trails from Zero on my other channel. It's amazing they've survived this long. What is Stealth Faces? The ones that are like right at the top left corner of the screen. Anyway, what I need to do is I need to get my co-hosts. I need to get my co-hosts out. I need to get my co-streamers, first of all, since this is a post-fantasy story time. Okay? What do I think of your puppy situation? As a cat, myself, it sounds deeply concerning, but, I mean, you know, I know number sign, not all dogs, so it's probably okay. Singular, not plural? Or yeah, they changed. There's a bunch of them in there. They're also... It's also a misnomer because they're not all Estelle faces. I have, like... Okay. I've said this before, and I've just never gotten around to doing it. But there's a little comic on the website for Kuro no Kiseki 2. And it's like... That's great. I can get like I can get a couple Van faces. I can get a couple Agnes faces, or Agnes, however you're meant to pronounce her name. I can get a couple Elaine faces, maybe, and just like drop those in there, you know, just as a little surprise. But I just haven't gotten around to actually doing it. So I mean, you know, rip me, I guess. Let's get this over here. There we go. Cavapuccions? Pretty much teddy bears, so it's cool. Okay. Saw a gameplay trailer for Kuro recently? I started playing Kuro like a couple of weeks ago. I haven't picked it back up yet because it's Japanese and I can't read Japanese. They're trying to one-up Cold Steel. From what I understand, okay, Bob hasn't gotten the Cold Steel yet, so I don't want to poison the well. Because I have my opinions about Cold Steel like everybody else does. From what I understand, apparently, it seems to do a decent job of that. First, the grid system is gone. You can smoothly move the mouse. The mouse? Now you can move before you attack? Yeah, Cold Steel got rid of the grid. Instead of everything being grid-based, it became, like, vector-based. And then, Kuro no Kiseki added an action game element. Because for so many years, they've been making E's more and more like Trails. So I guess now it's Trails' turn to become a little bit more like E's. I guess. So you have the field attacks, which they're not field attacks anymore, it's field battle. Yeah, that's the action game part. And some people don't like that. Some people think it's like a prolonged, protracted way to get advantage. I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I like ease. That's how I got into Trails anyway, was from playing ease, so it doesn't really bother me that much. I think the actual turn-based part of the combat, though, really cool. Like the way they kind of revamped everything. Cool. Movement being a free action. Pretty cool. That's like one of the biggest gameplay changes, I would say. The usefulness of the vector thing is debatable from a gameplay point of view, but it's definitely like the action thing. Yeah, that's the biggest change. Like the biggest, most obvious thing. Next to move being like a free action. But it's been a vector-based thing since Cold Steel. So, like, you know when you're trying to use your AoE attacks and you're trying to get like a bunch of enemies? In Trails in the Sky and in Crossbell, it's like sometimes like just one grid space can be the difference between getting 2 enemies or getting 7 out of 12, right? So when it's vector-based, you can get like really autistic about it and like really pinpoint the exact spot you want to just maximize the amount of enemies you hit. I don't know. It's different. I kind of like how different it is personally, but I get that it wouldn't be everybody's cup of tea. I was actually worried at first when they said like they wanted to do like a real-time thing with Kudo no Kiseki. I was like, okay, is this gonna just become ease? And that's not really what happened. Anyway, we're not here to meme about Trails, as tempting as that is for me, obviously. The auto placement for AoE spells isn't always optimal. Yeah. It usually targets an enemy, especially if it's even if it's one that targets like an area, like a set spell, a set art, instead of like a one that specifically targets an enemy. By default, it's just going to target an enemy. This is kind of what it does, if I remember right. Anyway, post fantasy. Let's do our thing. So okay. For anybody who's new to the stream, who's currently watching, for anybody who might be watching the VOD later, I gotta go through this every single time, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So post-fantasy, the Touhou post-fantasy story, is a interactive Touhou fanfic written by Bob in chat. It's interactive in the sense that every so often, when Bob posts a new part, sometimes a new installment or a new part or a new update will have a choice for the reader to make towards the end, and whoever happens to be reading it at the time will pick their choice, what they want to happen, and Bob will then count out which choices got how many votes, and that's kind of what decides which direction the story kind of goes in. I got distracted by chat. So, Touhou post-fantasy story takes place in the distant future, pretty far removed from the actual setting of Touhou. And our protagonist is a descendant of one of the protagonists of Touhou, Reimu Hakure. She's a descendant of this character, and she's like a shrine maiden living in this kind of like future society that doesn't really believe in things like the supernatural or the paranormal or the spiritual. Kind of done away with tradition a little bit, to the point where fantasy has sort of started to wane. Yokai aren't really around as much anymore. They've kind of like faded away over time. At present, thus far in the story, we haven't been given a clear indicator of how far in the future the story takes place. But we know it's like distant enough that things are like very, very different from how they are in like actual Touhou. So, our protagonist, Miko Hakure, one day is just cleaning the shrine, doing her duties, and she suddenly sees like this family heirloom, this little artifact that's been handed down for generations just starts glowing. And she realizes she hears a voice from it, and she suddenly gains the ability to use fragments to borrow the abilities and of these notable individuals from what she refers to as the Land of Fantasy, the name of which she later learns is Gensokyo. Along the way, as she learns to deal with and use this new ability and to use this yin yang orb, this family heirloom, she's met a few different characters. So far, we have met an energetic yet forgetful fairy named Teki. We've also met a NEET who is a ghost girl named Tomo. We have also met a little girl whose life we saved and then we named Igai. In the process of saving Igai, we also met a dragon girl named Aho. After we saved Igai, she was basically just dressed in rags, so we had to take her shopping for clothes. So we left, we went with Teki, and we did that. When we came back, the night before, when we were still saving Igai from fading away, essentially dying, when we managed to successfully do that, Miko passed out. So that left Aho guarding the shrine. When Tomo arrived, after Teki went to go get her to try and get help for Igai, Tomo and Aho got into a fight, and Miko had to break it up. So now, after this shopping trip, they return to the shrine. She finds these two staring daggers at each other, almost ready to start a fight. And because she decided, okay, we're gonna try and mediate here, she tries to get both sides of their story, decides to blame them both for what happened, figuring that they're both equally to blame. They both get upset with her, so then she has to kind of like work things out with the both of them. After that, everything's fine, everything is cool. We have a duel with Tomo, and it dealt some pretty severe damage to Miko at the time. The only other duel she had had before that was with Teki, and that was more of like a playful practice kind of thing. Whereas Tomo took the duel very seriously, or seemed to take the duel very seriously. After that, Miko went to sleep, and in her dream, she met Kyohi, the voice that she originally heard coming from the Yin Yang Orb when it first started to glow. Kyohi basically told her she was worthless, that she basically fucking hates her, and that she's not doing anything right. That's made Miko freak out. To the point where, to drive her point home, Kyohi decides to do some freaky Satori kind of shit to fuck with her brain. That managed to incapacitate Miko the morning after. She couldn't move right, she couldn't think right. So Aho volunteered to help us all morning, till we can, actually move on our own and walk around. Eventually we were able to do so, and decided that, or Miko realized, it's been about like a week since she did her like shrine maiden duties around the city, so she should probably get on to doing that. So at Aho's suggestion to bring somebody with us for protection, I guess, or at least that's what she implied, we brought Aho. Currently, we have gone to the... Where have we gone? Bro, I don't remember. Okay, I think we've gone to the shopping zone so far. And Miko got drunk as fuck and blessed some of the shops, some of the stores, and whatever. And I think that's pretty much as far as we got in Chapter 4 now. A bunch of what I'm covering, too, is also, like, I'm gonna skip the musical spoiler before I bring the music up. Okay, wait, I'm not playing Neptunia. I don't need that meme. Hang on. Go away. Milliam, you're not needed right now. I appreciate the moral support, though. Okay, let's get... I need to get my text file so I know where we left off. Gotta make sure food arrives. Be back before I say something mean, but 100% true. I gotta make sure I copy paste this right. Here, let's grab this, do that. Make sure everything is sized right. Okay, now I just need to make sure. Yeah, that works. It works. Chapter 4. Now we just gotta do a little quick Control F where we're at. And we have to do that. We have to Control F to find where we're at because Chapter 4 is not split up into multiple parts. It's all one monolithic file that's like 201 pages long. Decide of you? Can't decide on this. Dog's pretty sleepy, so do you pick him up and cut and give him a cuddle or no? If you pick him up, they're probably gonna wake up. So if you're okay with the dog waking up, I guess go for it. If you want to let sleeping dogs lie, maybe leave them alone. Excuse me. Okay, let's go here. All right, we're good. This is pretty much where we were at. They're not asleep yet. Okay. Alright. We're moving on. We've blessed the dome. We've blessed the weird VR dome. So now we're moving on from there. I gotta get back into the headspace of reading this. I don't get what's wrong with him, Aho says, what feels like the 5th time in a minute alone. Nothing, normally. Shout back. God, the dome is still within spitting distance and you're still arguing about this? But, oh wait, I didn't zoom in, hang on. I gotta zoom in so it's more legible on screen. There we go, that should help. That should help a little bit. This, actually. Oh. That should be good. I'm dyslexic and you need to lower your intelligence to understand this? It's kind of fucked up. Anyway, okay. Nothing normally, you shout back. God, the dome is still within spitting distance and you're still arguing about this? We already said that people were starting to stare at us back at the market square, right? It'd be 12 times worse in the main part of Zen. They were staring at us because you were drunk off your ass, Miko. Aho rebuts. It ain't because I was wearing a raincoat. They're used to seeing me drunk there, you counter. Seriously, you go and do that ritual every week. Of course the people at the market square are used to seeing you hammered like you were. They aren't used to seeing someone wearing a raincoat in the middle of a clear day. What the hell you want me to do then? Aho shouts back. Punching a building? I assume it's meant to say both of you. Both. Let's both keep walking. Where she punched is now a hole in the wall, but I don't really care about that happening here. The construction area is by far the quickest way to get from the dome to where you have to get in Zen. It's thankfully, as always, completely abandoned, so you and I are able to have a true yelling match with each other. Not that you're happy to yell at her, but it seems like the best way to get her to listen to facts and logic. Own the dragon girl with facts and logic. I think I fucking made that joke when I first read this. Oh, I don't know, you say sarcastically, moving your body as if to answer a serious conundrum. Maybe. Change into a shirt and pants? You then quickly switch to waving your hands about in frustration. Stupid dragon pride! No way! Aho shouts, turning down the very reasonable idea. They do something like that till I die and they put me in a grave, she says, turning up her head and puffing out her chest. Like this, she resembles a bird trying to make themselves appear bigger than they are. What grave? You ask incredulously. Do you really think you get buried in the ground after you die? Huh? Aho sounds really dumbfounded when you say that. What do you mean I ain't gonna get buried if I die? I saw the map! There's a whole place dedicated to the grave here! She points to a location on the map in your hands. It's west of the market square that you two were at recently. Oh, the grave site? You ask, waiting until Aho nods her head before continuing to speak. That's just where bodies are taken and broken down. Wait, hold on. Aho scrapes her hand against a building as you two keep moving. Try your best to keep a close eye on the map as you go on, since everywhere in this place looks almost the exact same. It's really easy to get lost. If your comment and had to leave to get food. Not much. We just started getting into it. We're moving through different areas and the construction area, and Miko is yelling at Aho for wearing a raincoat all the time. Are you telling me that people here really don't take care of the dead? Of course they do. It's just decided that the best use for the dead can be to living is to just be recycled and used elsewhere again. Now, left or right? Come on, you could have sworn you were at the street corner a second ago. I was thinking about this scene earlier, was it earlier today or earlier this week? I was thinking about this scene. I was thinking, how much more... What if Miko referred to this place that they're talking about right now not as the grave site, but as the recycling center? It would show it could show a couple things. It could show a callous disregard on the part of the people of the city of Zen, maybe. But it could also show just how much Miko is still a product of that culture, despite not really fully feeling like she belongs to it, and not actually fully belonging to it. Interesting memes. I'm just throwing shit out there now. Your attention is taken away from the map when you hear and smell vomit from behind you. Quickly turning, you regret what you see as Aho is bent over holding her stomach while throwing up. Thankfully, she's turned away from you so you don't see the worst of it, but the smell certainly makes your stomach churn. Oh god, Aho! You yell as you turn back around. It's not that bad! It's not like their bodies are made into food or anything. Keep moving forward, away from the awful smell. Zen turns them into stuff for plants, or things for animals to eat, or experiment on, or that kind of stuff. For sure, it's horrible how Zen treats the dead. You were taught that all life is sacred and that the dead must be treated with respect. Else they come back to haunt the living, and yeah, when you first learn what exactly went on at the gravesite, you may have had nightmares of your body being melted down and destroyed over and over again, but at least you didn't throw up. Much. Ugh. Aho walks back up to you, rubbing her sleeve on her mouth. You can smell the burning vomit when she does so, and you have to hold back from letting your stomach go free. Doing that to the dead. Aho puts an arm around your shoulders, bringing you closer to her. God, Aho. You don't like hugs on a good day. Today is not a good day. You smell so bad right now. Okay, so, another reason I hate second-person narration. You don't like hugs on a good day. That's referring to Miko. And today is not a good day when you smell so bad right now. This you is referring to Aho. This is why second-person narration is fucked up. I'll make sure to burn you if you die, okay? Aho probably means for that to sound reassuring and nice, but it comes across like more of a threat than anything else. Fine, Aho, just please. You shove the dragon away, covering your nose and pointing to one of the nearby houses. Just go inside and clean yourself up. You smell like rotten fish, dead plants, and regurgitated tea right now. Aho takes a few whiffs of the air. Her face crunches up. She looks like she's just as disgusted as you feel. Ugh. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Aho says, waving her hands as if she can move away the nasty smell. He turns around and walks towards the house he pointed to. With a single punch, she forcefully opens the door. See you in a sec, Miko, she says before going inside. With little else to do while you wait for Aho to clean up, look closely at the map again to make sure you know where you are this time. There's another reason for this place having no one in it that you didn't mention everyone else. Roads are always changing. Not literally, mind you. The names and places where roads are stay the same, but instead, you feel like every time you look away, you're no longer where you were 2 seconds ago. Makes most maps useless, as you can't read them while moving. For this place, either memorize every street, or get lost for hours on end. Second person sucks, but use stuff that shows you agree. Let's move this. Okay, fair enough. Also, let me state for the record, okay? Let me just state to be clear, alright? When I see things, I point them out that I don't like say, like a second person narration, which is not a thing in later chapters you'll find. Or, like weird grammar things, or like spelling errors. Generally, I'm like a super fucking autistic grammar Nazi, to the point where, like, if too many of those things are in a sentence, it genuinely affects my ability to actually understand what's being conveyed in the sentence. So because of that, I tend to, like, drop whatever the fuck I'm reading, be it a story, be it a fucking YouTube comment, if I see too much of that shit. Like, I just completely... If there's too much, I lose my patience, I just, like, don't bother reading. Now, with this story, doesn't happen terribly often, and when it does, it's like, they're usually not the worst things. I've seen a few of my favorite pet peeves in here, but usually not the horriblest things, right? Like here in this sentence, like feel instead of feels. That's like, okay, that's like a typo, whatever. The reason I can let it slide here is because I feel like the actual narrative contents and like the story kind of shine through, despite like these like occasional typos or like grammar things. I think the characters in the story are strong enough that I can maybe not comfortably disregard these things, but I don't seem to mind as much. Oh no, there's real-time editing happening again. This place was created because, at the time, there was a need for more space for people to live, businesses to come up, and all that kind of stuff. But construction workers getting lost, new residents being unable to find their own home, and reports of missing people led to the place ending up like this. Abandoned by all but the most foolhardy. Miko! You're Aho calling to you from within the house. How the heck do I get this thing to work? Maybe sending the dragon who hasn't left a lake in years inside by herself into a house filled with Zen technology wasn't the best idea. Miko, the faucet's goddamn attacking me! Really not a good idea. Oh, I got a picture for this. Should I show it? I have a picture for this. Bob, should I show it? It's a lower effort picture, but it's a picture. You want me to show it? Okay. I gotta find it first. Down here. I got a picture for this. Don't worry, don't worry. Ah. Where is it? Here we go. There we go. There's the picture for this particular scene. So I should explain, the reason it's a toilet is because I can't possibly fathom how a faucet on a sink could turn on in such a way that that Aho would interpret it as an attack, unless she accidentally turned on a bidet, not realizing what it was. Which is why, in this image, it's, the toilet. Anyway, moving on. Didn't have to explain the joke like that, but I did anyway. So, rip the joke. It took a couple of minutes to finally get Aho cleaned up, but afterwards, you two managed to arrive at the main part of Zen without any issue. Well, besides the issues that are innate to this part of Zen. Oh, hey, Miko. Aho pipes up. Look at the circle of people conveniently moving around us as we walk. See, this part's first person for some reason, but it worked like... It's more jarring when it randomly switches. I ain't exactly blind here. What's everyone moving about like we got a disease or something? You don't respond to Aho's question. It's best not to speak unless needed here. Miko. Aho steps out in front of you. I'm confused. He said a thing since we got here. What's going on? You ignore Aho's question again. Keep moving forward. First building should be 4 streets down. That idiot. He's still alive? Yeah. It's a curse that she didn't die at the old site yet. Ignore it. You need to ignore it and it'll be fine. Is that her? The girl you talked about? But yes, she has such an age and she still hasn't learned a thing. Miko, what the heck? Miko, what the heck going? Aho tries to talk. You send a glance her way, hoping your message is communicated. Move on. Ignore them. Don't say a word. Please. It's normal after all. The market square is the unusual place for having people stay so silent when you're moving about in your shrine maiden outfit. It's how most people act when they see you. Staying away but still watching you. Speaking of you, but not at you. Sometimes even crashing. You feel the blood drip off your head where the stone landed. Despite the blood being drawn, you actually aren't in as much pain as usual when that happens. You almost smile at that fact since it means you're actually getting stronger. What the hell? Oh, right. Things get bad if Aho reacts. Which she obviously does, turning towards the ever-moving crowd that walks the street. Alright, who the hell did that? She yells, demanding for the person who hurt you to step forward. What's wrong with that girl? Just a Hakure. She's like nobody stabbed her as is. She should be thankful the government hasn't taken back our land from those thieves. Words such as those continue coming from the crowd. Louder and louder. Even Aho stands still. The hell is wrong with you people? Aho's clothes are becoming less defined and brighter as she speaks. Don't turn and walk away, you freaks! If you're gonna say that shit, say it to her face! We're activating a quote-unquote passive. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, it kind of is. Well, okay. There's a couple problems. We haven't seen it because we haven't looked at like a lot of the character sheet and character bio stuff, because I feel like, especially if you haven't read the story yet, that's full of fucking spoilers. But it's also full of spoilers even if you have. At least a few. But I would agree. Death, to start with, Death is kind of like... Thus far, Miko has really only used it as like a get-out-of-jail-free card. Successfully, every single time. Miko has a very good command of the ability, despite the fact that she's only had the fragment for like a day. And there's the part where the documentation, the sheets that we're talking about, label it a... Wait, is this one a passive? Because those sheets get mixed up between passives and actives. Rewrite, so much goddamn rewrite. I think I explained my problem with Death in an earlier stream. It is a passive. So how is she fucking activating it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. I think I already explained what my problem with Death was as a skill in an earlier stream. The main problem I have with it is that it would be one thing if Miko was able to invite to death or invoke death upon like some kind of living thing. Like maybe she can like make a person dead for like 5 seconds and then they come back and it's like enough time for her to like run away or something. That would be one thing, because it's like the death of a living thing. But she's using this ability on abstract concepts. which is some fucking Mystic Eyes bullshit that she shouldn't really be able to do. One, or two, she shouldn't be able to do without practicing with the fragment loads. If I'm gonna start writing the damn thing, that's working in another way. Yes, it'll be a retcon. Yes, you're gonna do it since it's bad writing. Yes, you're getting caught up in an exciting thing. Oh no. I see it highlighted. That's a scary sign. We might see rewriting happen as we read. The air is still. The words of the crowd gone. Everyone is silent and nobody moves. Your hands in Yang orb and fan form. The idea of conflict is gone for just a little bit. But it's the time you need to defuse the situation before it escalates to a point of no return. Aho doesn't resist as you take her by the hand and start running away from the spot. By the time the effects of the fragment wear off, you and Aho are far enough away to leave everyone who is watching you in confusion at what just happened. Faces? Aho looks down your hand and around hers and pulls away. Don't stop moving though. Just slow down instead. Keeping at a brisk pace. Aho for her part doesn't hesitate for long and keeps up with you as the people around realize who you are and once start avoiding you too. Miko. Aho looks at you with a flash of anger for a second before her face moves out to one that screams of controlled calmness. Don't do that again. I'll be okay taking care of stuff like that, Year. It's fine, Aho. It'll just get worse if you fight back. You say without looking at Aho, unable to say the words directly to her. That's right. It's been happening for as long as you've been a Shrine Maiden. It's never gotten better, but always worse when you try to talk to people. They look disgusted, confused, sad, disappointed, or whatever else you can imagine, but never anything even approaching a positive emotion. Talking about this more later, you hear me? Aho says, thankfully dropping the subject for now. Never want to talk about it. Better that way. Thankfully, the rest of the trip to this part of Zen goes without any further problems beyond some name calling from some random folks and one additional rock thrown your way. Aho catches and breaks that one before it can hit you, though. Things can't change with the people here, but doesn't mean people you can't. Doesn't mean the. That doesn't mean the people with you can't help. Okay, I was misreading that badly. I think this part here, in hindsight, made so much weaker by using death. I could see that. There's I can see why you feel that way. I don't know. I'd probably have to analyze and overanalyze to reach the same conclusion about this particular scene. There's other parts that we've looked at before where I feel similarly. Like, okay, the one that sticks out first and foremost, like at my brain, like right off the top, is the scene early in chapter 4 at the beginning when we woke up and Miko's like having like this panic attack. And it's described that she's having a panic attack. And I get that, like, okay, I get that a panic attack could be like this thing that can happen without you realizing it, and like it could be like it doesn't. It might not necessarily have a singular direct cause, or it could be like a compounded amount of things. Like, I get that it's something that could just come on. Problem is, I don't feel like in that scene we're put in Miko's shoes enough. It doesn't really. What we heard prior to that, and Miko explaining why she's in that state in the narration, I don't know, maybe I'm just a callous motherfucker, but it doesn't really sell it to me. I'm so happy this entire story is essentially a first draft. This is what you thought was going to be the final result? You have been too sad to write anymore? Good reassurance in your mind that every mistake is something you can learn from and fix later. True. Of course, you didn't mean help like this. Aho! You scream at the top of your lungs, trying your best not to look down. You're going to fly us over the barrier! You continue to scream. Oh, come on, Miko, I'm doing you a favor. Taking that shortcut you were talking about sounded like a good way to die. Aho says, nonchalantly, as if she isn't carrying up so high in the sky that the barrier dome and even the school all look tiny. It would have been fine, you tell Aho, trying your best not to move, but still make it known just how much you hate this. 10-meter tall, high-tech wall with frickin' laser turrets, spike traps, and spider mines, Aho says, listing off some of the many qualities of the barrier. She's even sighing, too. You really think it's a good idea to sneak through that? Yes! The barrier hasn't been remade or changed since it first went up. You have to stop looking down and just close your eyes now. It's too scary being this high up. There really is a path you could take. The spider mines ran out of power years ago, and we could— Ah! You scream loudly as you feel the wind rushing past your face faster than before. Miko, stop being a stupid kid. It's by pure luck that you haven't ended up dead yet. Feel Aho shake you slightly, causing you to tense up in fear for accidentally letting go of you. Open your eyes, will you? Hackaway flies, so you may as well get used to doing it. You're still annoyed you never thought of using Remedy before I suggested it? Oh no. Worried and scared, but curiosity eventually overcomes your fears. You open your eyes. It's still scary, but there's a certain degree of serenity to the view. Clouds pass by high in the sky, and cool wind flows through your clothes as you and Aho move forward. The ground beneath is small, and many of the details are lost from this high up. You can make out the barrier, still and gray as you move beyond it to the toxic zone. The zone from this high up is interesting, to say the least. The toxic zone is a large meadow of purple, red, and white flowers, though even from this high up, that can be hard to tell due to the purple fog that emanates from the place. Mom told you that once this place was without a name, and where those without names too would come to die. They are grudges and regrets would pile up and soak into the earth, corrupting all that grew here, and with a want for the living to perish. The melancholy family had a different view on the deadly nature of the place where they lived. They saw it from what you understand now is the view of truth. This is a place where many toxic chemicals were once dumped, along with humans who were likely buried in mass graves here. No less horrible reason why this place exists as it does, but when you put less stock in now than ever before. Even from this high up, you can see the single house that rests in this place. Sanctioned and allowed by the Zen government, the melancholy family is allowed to live here as long as they collect samples of the toxic flowers and other such plants in the area. The center had tried many times in the past to set up their own bases here, but plants would quickly grow around their sites that would destroy their equipment and send researchers to the hospitals. But there's a single path one could take in and out of the zone that will not result in them getting killed from dangers present. Can't see it from up here, but I know it to be a small brick road that's incredibly old. Ground bricks are the kind that are no longer seen in the modern world, and could likely have been replaced and repaired a long time ago. So, you hear autosave behind you. Where the heck are we supposed to land? Blinkly, repeatedly, to focus your thoughts and sight, you try to find the... focus your thoughts and sight, you try to find the path. But from this high up, you can't make it out. There's supposed to be a path we could take? If you take... I keep getting, like, all these tracks that aren't fitting. Fine, whatever. Leave it alone. There's supposed to be a path we could take. If you take us down a bit, I think I'll be able to point it out. As Aho slowly begins to descend, do admit in your mind that flying over the barrier is certainly much easier than taking the usual path you do. And for once, do agree with Zen's decision to block off this part of the city. I think this is incredibly dangerous to anyone and everyone living there. There, you shout, pointing towards a barely viewable gap in the meadow. That's the path right there. Just go down slowly and avoid the mist, otherwise I'm dead. You say with a grimace. Don't you mean we're dead? Aho asks. You're a freaking dragon! You'd definitely be fine. But I'm just a human. I'll be dead in 20 seconds flat. You hiss out. You start seeing the light purple mist the lower you get. And it's a close call. But Aho holds steady until you manage to get onto the barely held together path. Aho lets you down before taking a few extra steps forward. Takes a quick look around the flowers surrounding us and then turns to me. One of those memes. Sure, we should be going that close to that house? Aho says, pointing far up the path to the house, sitting on a single raised portion of the entire area. It totally flew us right up to it. Brush yourself off and double check your bag to make sure everything is still inside. Adjust your glasses and look around for certain someone. What you looking at, Miho? Miko? Aho asks, looking around as well after noticing you doing so. It's a field of flowers and stuff, nothing too interesting, I'd say. She says while bending down to look at one of the red flowers bordering the path. Widen your eyes in shock and try to call out to Aho. Aho, don't! But it's too late. The flower spurts from the center of a haze of yellow dust directly into Aho's eyes. Ah! She shouts, falling backwards as she continues to shout in pain. You run up beside her, shocked that she's actually affected by any of the plants here and worried about what to do. Goddamn burn! Shit, get it off! Get it off! Aho shouts, desperately trying to rub the spores out of her eyes and even lighting up her sleeve to try and burn them away, but to no avail. Stop it, Aho, that just makes it worse. Just hold on Even over Aho's continued shouting, your two steps come from behind you. Quickly turn around, worried for a microsecond that someone reported you and Aho flying before, instead someone to speak to you two of you. Once you see her, without a sigh in relief, as standing behind you is what would, at first glance, appear to be a young girl with short blonde hair, tied in a ponytail. Her brown eyes are wide and full of concern and surprise. Her extremely short black shorts, plain red t-shirt, leave her joints exposed. Aren't the kind you'd find on a normal human, though. No, the girl instead has joints like a doll. They bend and move without noise, and you see the unnatural cleanliness of her skin. Around her shoulder and waist, it's a belt with holes in it, and in these holes, various gardening tools. Medi! You shout, happier than you could describe to see the girl. There's a problem, my friend... Medi doesn't even wait for you to finish before pushing you out of the way with ease. She moves towards Aho, still wailing on the ground before opening up a small compartment hidden on her wrist. Inside it are needles filled with various substances, one of which she takes out and quickly presses on Aho's neck. The act is particularly impressive because Aho's raincoat had quickly been turning into pure flames and barely retaining any shape the more she had been screaming. You can even feel the heat from roughly 2 feet away. The second part, which Medi hasn't realized she's done, is overpowering a squirming and struggling Aho while she was panicking. Hey Tak, welcome. Of course, Medi doesn't manage to overpower Aho for more than a split second. As soon as the contents of the needle enter Aho's body, Aho kicks Medi a good 15 feet into the air, and she lands in a field, causing a huge burst of multicolored spores to burst. Excuse you? Huge burst? Bursted? Medi! You scream, worried about the damage that Aho's kick might have done to the girl. But you can't even rush out to check on her because you'd end up just like Aho is, if not worse. You don't have to worry about her for long, though, as the girl stands up again, though with most of her clothes burned to some degree. But she speaks in that forever carefree and happy tone as usual. I'm fine, Miko, she says, waving at you with a huge smile on her face. It's just a scratch. She shouts as she quickly skips back to you and Aho. At this point, Aho isn't moving anymore. In fact, it seems like she's sleeping. Her raincoat is back to its normal shape, thankfully, though. Quickly, you run to Aho's side on the ground and look her over. Medi casually arrives to look at the dragon while standing up. Man, she really took a big face full of Raiko, Medi says while flicking her wrist, causing a small precise light to appear in her hand, with which she opens up Aho's eyes and inspects them. It's amazing she isn't blind to getting such a direct hit. Yeah, you say, pretending to understand what Medi's speaking about. It's really amazing she's fine. She's fine, right? Please be fine. You don't want to be responsible for blinding Aho for the rest of her life. Medi turns to you, seemingly satisfied with her inspection of the dragon. Yep, she says, picking up Aho with her small arms easily. The mom and dad should definitely take a look. They're better equipped to remove spores stuck in there. Moving with the ever so unnatural speed, Medi starts cheerfully humming as she carries Aho along the path. You only stand still for a few seconds before your thoughts catch up to what you're seeing and you hurry up and join the girl. It's really nice to see you again, Miko, the girl says cheerfully as she keeps moving at the steady pace. You'd like to sigh to feel some exasperation by the girl's demeanor not changing for a second since you've seen her today. But it's Medi. It's just something you get used to. Yeah, nice to see you too, Medi. You say, okay, let's like not have game over music play. Let's not have musical spoilers play. Why are you ellipsising? Bob. Oh, that's interesting. It's just something you never get used to. It's just something you do get used to. Yeah, nice to see you too, Medi, you say with an exhausted smile. To continue a natural conversation in an unusual environment, that's just the kind of girl Medi is. Doka medicine melancholy. And here's interesting. Okay, like yeah, melancholy. Okay. Confused. I guess it's fine. It's whatever. But interesting thing about this character, the music track was like, I said play the music. Oh, the game over. Yeah, a little bit. Aho got KO'd during the boss fight against a fucking flower. Sorry, Aho. She's on screen right now, okay? Like it's fine. Like don't bully her too much, okay? What's interesting about this character introduction here, when we see her name, is the fact that it's showing up in Japanese. I don't think that's something we've seen for any of the other characters thus far. It's only been medicine. I don't think this happened for Igai when we named her. I don't think it happened for Teki. Even when we saw her full name during the duel scene, I don't think it didn't happen for Tomo. Didn't happen for Aho. You think you partially did, so you didn't forget what the hell her name was at any time? Okay. She's the girl closest to your own age, though still younger. You could have called... She's the girl closest to your own age, though still younger, that you could have called friend in the year since your parents' death. Bakura and melancholy families have been good acquaintances for a few generations now, and when you were around 15, Mom introduced you to the family. And by proxy, Doka. Though everyone, including her own family, calls her medicine, or Medi first and foremost. Might have also because the mix of katakana and hiragana to know you weren't seeing a translation of her name or anything? Where the fuck is the hiragana? Wait, now I'm turbo confused. Where is the hiragana? Oh. Look, it's been a long time since I studied Japanese with any consistency, but you can't catch me with that shit. You're not gonna get that. That's not an easy gotcha you're gonna get with me. She was something like 11 or 12 years old when you first met her. And even back then, she was such an excitable girl that she managed to break you out of your shell. Not enough to become friends, but enough that you ended up looking forward to your trips to Melancholy's place. Not that there aren't some odd things about Medi, but you've never been one to judge. Can't believe you got another friend, Miko! Medi says with glee. I thought you'd run away again if someone tried to ask you to be their friend. That was one time, Medi, you exclaim, blushing as you recall that particular event. And you were covered in poisons! Did you really expect that I would go and hug you? I don't know. You did the same thing when I asked you when I wasn't coming back from the garden. It's amazing that Medi can both talk to you, continue to hold up Aho, and flip and skip along barely present path all at the same time. You were missing your arms! You say, exhausted. They were sparking and leaking stuff that your dad said would have killed me if I touched it. I don't know. Maddie's neck makes a complete 180 to look directly at you. If you were missing your arms and wanted a hug, I'd definitely have done it. Maddie, please watch where you're going. You ask, but no, but Miko didn't ask. That's a period. She didn't ask. She told. What if you tripped and dropped Touhou into a batch of flowers? Well, Mom and Dad would just fix her up. Maddie answers, sounding slightly confused. They did that with you last time you fell into the garden. You shiver at the memory when Maddie tossed you far up into the air to play with you. To try and play with you. You ended up having to stay there the entire day at the Melancholies as they worked to remove all the deadly chemicals from your body. Don't remind me. You say quietly. Okay. I'll make sure to keep looking forward to it. Finally, Maddie listens to your request. And moves her head back to looking in the same direction her body is moving. You continue traveling along the path for a couple of more minutes, getting closer and closer to Maddie's house. Even from what must be at least another 15 minutes of traveling to reach the place. It's easy to make out the various details of the abode. It's unlike any of the other houses in Zen. Apparently, the original builder was inspired by someone else's home. It's what used to be described as European style, with a tower connected to the side of the main building. It was tiled with a single chimney sticking out. The walls clearly used to be white, but over time and from the spores in the air, they've become brown and dirty. There are 4 windows, with 2 in the front with a greenish door and the other 2 being located in the left side and back respectively. From memory, the house employs a space disorder to provide more room inside. That fucking vomit. From memory, the house employs a space disorder to provide more room inside than what appears to be available on the outside. So, the Melancholies live in a TARDIS. Gotcha. It's always slightly disorienting for you when going in and out of buildings equipped with that tech. So, her name's Aho, right? Maddie asks, breaking the silence without breaking her step. Oh, yeah, you confirm. She's, a family friend. Met her recently. She wanted to come with me when I did my Shrine Maiden duties today. Wow, I didn't know anyone else liked your family other than us. Ouch. You rub the back of your head, having nearly forgotten from interacting with so many more people than usual, how Maddie normally acts. Maddie, I know my family isn't liked, but you shouldn't put it like that, you remind the girl. Well, you call her a girl still because of her appearance, but Maddie is 18 and in her final year of normal schooling. Oh, sorry, Miko, she exclaims, probably with the same smile on her face. Can't see it because you're behind her due to there not being enough room on the path for you to walk side by side while she's carrying Aho. I'll try better next time, she says with what must be absolute certainty. Yeah, I'm sure you will, you say, knowing that it's wrong with absolute certainty. Oh yeah, Maddie stops moving and turns her neck alone to face you. How long has it been since I picked up your friend's body, Miko? Oh, crap. 5 or so minutes, I think? You saw worried and already sure about what... You saw? Worried and already sure about the answer you're about to receive for your next question. Maddie, how long was that shot you gave her supposed to last? Maddie lets out a nervous laugh. 7 minutes or so? Maddie starts running in a sprint towards her house. I'm sorry, Miko, take care of your promise! She quickly says, without messing up even for a beat. Just let us sigh at the fact that, yet again, Maddie forgot something important. Dang it, Maddie, you say, resigned to the fact that you're once again having to chase after the airheaded girl. You did this last week, too! Don't you get away with that one heck of a talking to, Missy! You scream, as you run up the path after the girl who never ages. Even enhanced with yokai strength, Maddie still easily beats you to the house, barging in without knocking. If the door hadn't been designed exactly for this sort of thing, after the 5th time it happened, the thing likely would have broken from the force. As you make it up to the door, you see Maddie next to her mom and dad lifting Aho up and talking quickly. I administered one syringe of K-183. The subject was successfully incapacitated within 1.2 seconds. Following that, I accompanied the patient companion down the path before realizing the subject will only be asleep for less than 2 more minutes. Medi says, trailing off as she arrives on the subject of her losing track of time. Medi's mom, a woman in her 40s, pats Medi's head. It's fine, Medicine. It's good that you managed to get her to us before she woke up, he said, before turning to Medi's dad. Lay her out on the couch, I'll remove the spores. Medi's dad nods his head, picks up Aho, and quickly speaks to Medi before leaving. Take the patient's companion up to your room. Would you, Medicine? I'm sure she'd love to talk to you again, he says, darting his eyes to you, still standing in the doorway. Medi turns around and looks surprised to see you there. Makes sense, since normally you'd still be a couple of minutes behind her when she gets to running like that. Oh, Miko, I'm sorry for leaving you behind like that, she says, running up and grabbing your hand with both of hers. Mom and Dad will take care of things, so let's catch up. I want to hear everything about Aho. You don't resist as she drags up a flight of stairs. If there's any adults who trust in Zen, it's Medi's. It's Medi's adults. Aho's gonna be fine. Well, I think you can hear her start screaming again as whatever was in the syringe wears off before she goes silent again. But she'll be fine. Gotta go. Okay, see you when you're back, Tech. Okay, I was joking when I said Medi's adults. Because when you don't have the word parents after Medi's, it sounds like you're referring to... It sounds like you're saying Medi's adults, as if she has ownership over these two adults. That could kill me. The problem with doing my Iku voice is that unless, like, whatever line I'm reading on the screen is there, you can't understand a fucking word I'm saying. Iku isn't here, though? I know. But you just told me to die, and that's like a surefire way to do it. Medi's room is quite a lot like Medi herself. That is to say, it's messy, organized, well-kept, and not thought out in the slightest. Wait. It's messy, but it's also organized and well-kept. But it's also not thought out in the... I get what you're going for here, but it's like really memey. I found out seemingly random objects around the room, including umbrellas, instruments, masks, mirrors. As long as it looks really old, you'll probably find it here. There are plants in jars and samples all around with various notes marking their properties and how to take care of them. In one corner is a stack of school books and paperwork. The place smells similar to if you had buried your face in the ground for a couple of days and there were enough gardening tools around to make you wonder if Medi did that once. There's some umbrellas in the room, and we've already read the side story chapter of like where this family comes from. So I'm gonna need a minute. Okay, I'm gonna need a second. Okay, all right. No, because it's saying like the room is messy. The room is also organized. The room is well kept. The room is also not thought out in the slightest. I get your comment for like this kind of like oxymoronic thing, but like, fine. It's more of a personal style thing. Like I might like if I was to try and say the same thing, I'd probably go on for like a couple sentences more, but that's just I think that's just a difference in style. It's not an unusual sight to see, and in fact there's nothing new in the room since you visited last week. And after all, you're the one who's really changed since then. Medi's certainly noticed. You move so much faster today, Miko. Medi rambles after letting you go lay on her bed. Why does that happen every single time? What was I? Oh. The faster they make it. Maddie rambles as after letting you go down her bed. It strikes you how amazing it is she's able to keep her body so clean when she works so much with plants and dirt. I was trying at top speed to get your friend back to Mom and Dad, but you managed to be only roughly, 5 seconds or so behind? Maddie's rummaging through her notebooks and flipping slowly through them. Or maybe it just looks slow to you because you've seen Techie do the same, but it must be Mach 2. Must have finally bought some installs then, right? Was it the Hyperion? Maybe the Icarus. Oh, it was probably the Samuel, right? She lists up. Wait a second. Samuel? Samuel? As in... Fuck, I forgot his last name. Is it Rodriguez? As in... Jetstream Samuel? Am I getting memed? She lists off the various types of installs or body enhancements to you, while showing you drawings in her notebook of the kinds that she lists. You gently push the notebook down and chuckle at just how wrong her guesses are. I'm memeing myself. Well, they are the DNA of the soul, after all. No, Medi. I already told you I'd never get things like that. You say, waving your hands, trying to dismiss the topic. Medi's curiosity is too strong, though. There's no way you could run that fast without an install, though. I calculated your top running speed at the start of last month, and you couldn't even break 50 kilometers with your natural body. Well, maybe your calculations were wrong. You say slowly, unwilling to outright tell Medi right now the truth. If you'll ever be ready, that is. The Melancholy family is odd. They hold an age-old belief that all things, be them objects, animals, or people, deserve the same level of respect. That's why they refuse to throw things out or get rid of them until they can absolutely no longer serve their original purpose. And that belief normally has the family shunned somewhat from regular society. Not as much as the Hakure are, but they're still seen as social outcasts, at least somewhat. It's thanks to their continued participation in scientific endeavors that they can go out into other parts of Zen without any issue. Though, despite having a belief in something illogical, the Melancholies, aside from many, don't even slightly believe anything mystical or religious your family speaks or believes. You recall the arguments that Mom and Dad would have with Medi's parents when getting really heated sometimes. After your parents passed away, Medi's would try to get you to start living with them, abandon the shrine, and other such things. It's not out of any malicious feelings, though. They're simply good-meaning people wanting to help. They just don't quite understand why you do what you do. And before this week, you really have any good counter to their arguments to what they would say. But after awakening to the power of the Yang Orb and being multiple beings of fantasy, well, you really have no reason to ever accept their offer now. Okay, Bob. New world building question for you. In regards to treating inanimate objects with respect, I can kind of understand. But refusing to throw things out until they can absolutely no longer serve their purpose. Wouldn't that be seen as practical by the city of Zen? Moving on. That's something that's a meme for me for me to discuss with Bob another time. Made it slightly unclear here. Okay. Medi is slightly different, though. She, at least, does find the things you speak about interesting. About yokai, about the gods, about your duties as a shrine maiden, and all that fantasy stuff. She would constantly ask you to perform miracles and other things you couldn't do in the past to prove that any of what you said was true, and you would always fail to show her. She would always suggest trying again later, and that cycle would repeat. Makes you wonder now if you can perform some fantastical feats on demand, if that would convince many of things. And if that would even be a good thing in the first place. That's because Medi... Well, maybe Mom and Dad would know. Or I could ask the teachers at school. The bigwigs working on the mountain, maybe even? She's far too excitable. You have a hard time imagining that she wouldn't tell just about everyone she knows about you floating, passing through objects, moving darkness, or what have you if you showed her such things were possible. It's only a coin flip. It's only a coin flip she'd listen to you about not speaking about such things with others, but maybe you could convince her parents to keep quiet and help? It's hard to imagine, but maybe if they see proof of fantasy, they'd be willing to help you out. As Medi keeps talking, decide that it's a bit too soon. And this isn't really going to be the right place to tell Medi exactly what's happened either. But maybe. So this isn't... Okay, so I have to reiterate, because occasionally I have to stress this again. This story is an interactive piece, meaning that occasionally things Miko will ponder or things Miko will think about and decides on are actually decided on by the readers, whoever happens to be reading the story at the time. So this is actually Miko deciding not to tell Medi about what she could do with the fragments right now is a result of a choice that was posed in whichever part this was in. And clearly the readers at the time chose, like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't tell Medi right away. It's supposed to be the respect part that weirds out Zen, but not the utility aspect. You grouped them too close together. Okay. Since you're out of your depth and you've been gone for the past 30 minutes, you assume I mean all inanimate objects. Okay. Okay. Considering, well, I know you're gone now. I know you're gone now, but in case you rewind, or in case somebody else is wondering, in a previous stream, we looked over a side story chapter that kind of explains the origin of this family. I read it at the time because I figured it was just set up for what's happening. It wasn't spoilers, it was set up for the people we're meeting now. And in Touhou, there is a species of yokai called Tsukumogami. And Tsukumogami are a type of creature, type of being that is born from inanimate objects. Because in the animistic belief system of Shinto, everything has like a soul. Everything has like a god. Everything has a divine spirit that resides within it. Tools especially, because they could be affected by like people using them, people caring for them, or when they break. So the idea is a tool that becomes very, very old. Usually the meme is like 100 years old, but it could be like longer. The spirit, the divine spirit inside kind of like matures, and it kind of like comes alive in a sense. So generally when it becomes a malicious yokai, it's because the tool has been abandoned or neglected, and when it comes to life, it becomes a yokai and then haunts people to kind of like get back at the humans that kind of like neglected it or abandoned it or what have you. Kogasa is one such type of character. Ben, Yatsuhashi, Raiko, also characters in that same category. Just to name a few Touhous who happen to be in that category, in that yeah, I can't phrase that any differently. In that category of yokai. So the idea is, if you treat the tools with respect, or there's some versions where it's like if you break the tools when, you know, their usefulness is run out, that prevents them from turning into a yokai, or using them until they break, using them and caring for them until they break over time, just from age, would be enough to please the divine spirit in the object. to keep it from becoming a yokai or something like that. So in that side story chapter, it was a boy who met Medicine Melancholy, who is also one such Tsukumogami. And as the barrier around Gensokyo started to fade and break apart, he found her in a weakened state. And she had been gathering all of what remained of the Tsukumogami who had disappeared, because they reverted back into being just inanimate objects as fantasy waned more and more within Gensokyo. And when he found her, and he promised to take up what she had started to find and protect the tools and the Tsukumogami that went back to being objects. At that point, the very same thing happened to her, and this boy realized, after having had that happen, after having experienced that, it was now his responsibility, his duty to her, to carry on what she was doing. And that's where this belief for this family comes from, to the point where the boy took on her name, which is why they're called the Melancholy family. You just gotta tell me. Medi moves to be right next to you, her face looking up with eyes full of curiosity. If you don't have any installs, what changed? Well, you could say... You look away, trying to think of something else. Some other way to put it, because... Don't want to let Medi know. Just... You want to let Medi know, just... Not right now. You hate your writing, but occasionally you do like it? It's mostly good. There's, look... There's, room for some parts. There's room for improvement in some parts, right? The technical aspect, I would say especially. But, even, in some of the narrative aspects, you take issue with, and some that I take issue with. But generally, for the most part, I would say it's fine. It's mostly good. The story also basically has Trails memes in it, and it was before you even really knew anything about Trails, which is great. The way fragments work is, disgustingly similar to Ordments. Or the way they're supposed to work, rather. I need to say something that'll catch your interest. Something that'll let you keep talking about this in the future. You could say that I found a secret Hakure family technique. Yeah, that's good enough, hopefully. Medi backs away laughing. You guys? Your family has some super tech that lets you move at the same speed as me? I don't know how the fuck to make this noise. Is that what I'm supposed to do? I swear that Medi could totally laugh like a normal person if she wanted to. She must be deciding to sound like a gear crank moving. A human shouldn't be able to make it. So that's not what it's supposed to... That's not what it's supposed to sound like. Do I need to go get a fight? Do I need to go find a socket wrench? So that every time Medi laughs like that, I could just use that. Get real, Miko, she says, still laughing, but the crank sound dissipating. If that was the case, you'd have used whatever you got a long time ago. You complained so much about not being able to keep up with me, remember? I'm being serious, Medi, you shout back, though lacking any kind of anger in doing so. At the shrine, I found something big. Big enough to completely change things. Medi hums in doubt. She gets up from bed and picks up an old telescope from a place you couldn't see. If you're telling the truth, she extends the telescope out. You've got to show me this stuff! She moves her eye away from the end of the telescope she was looking through and playfully grins, likely expecting you to give up at this point. You puff out your chest and bring your hands to your side. Oh, let the table turn then, Miss Melancholy. Actually, you put on your best Touhou impression when you respond. I'd love to tell Medi. I'd love to, Medi. But it's at the shrine. So unless you manage to come over, you'll never learn how I did it. Ah, there's that classic Medi look you recognized. The one where when you first came over and explained what a god was to her, and she spent the entire week reading up on them. You know, she had to look through every library in Zen and still ended up only finding 2 pamphlets and a diary from an annoyed disciple at a temple. Okay, I was about to say that this kind of conflicted with something that happens in a later side chapter, but then it doesn't. If you can make that with your mouth, you're worried for my health? Wait, but like... Okay, you know what? You've fucking done it again. This isn't even your trail stream, and you're fucking triggering me. Hang on. Fuck is a gear crank? Just teach me. Teach me, somebody. Copy. Pasta. Sound effect? Fine. Like that? Or like something else? That telescope thing is... let me read it again. She gets it from the bed, picks up an old telescope from the place you couldn't see. She extends the telescope out... Oh, is she pointing a telescope at Miko? Push her away from the end of the telescope she was looking through and... Okay, I guess so. It wasn't super clear. I was just playing with it. It wasn't super clear. Okay. Let the table turn then, Miss Melancholy. Actually, you put on your best Aho impression, even when you respond. When you respond. I'd love to, Manny. But okay, yeah, the classic Manny look. Alright. The one we... Okay. I read that already. My parents would totally freak out if I asked to go to the shrine, she whines. It's a high-pitched sound that goes up like a whistle and down like a slide. It'd be all... You're too clumsy, medicine. You'll fall into water and your joints will rust. And, sweetie, you'll ruin the old place and destroy it with how excitable you are. She says all this while putting on rather poor impressions of her dad and mom, respectively. She even brings out a few old clothes to wear while doing them to help sell the bit. Do you secretly enjoy when you see Medi act like this? More in line with how others in Zen behave? More in line with how others in Zen behaved, acting stiff and mechanical. Wait, what? The time when you attended school in Zen, you did notice how people would keep conversations to the point and would rarely move on to other topics without prompting from someone else. No one certainly acted anywhere near as playful and energetic as many did outside of times when they were expected to act as such. What do you mean, what? Do you secretly enjoy it when you see Medi act like this? More in line with how others in Zen behaved. Acting stiff and mechanical. That's no, it's the second sentence that's fucking me up. Because the second sentence implies that the way Medi's acting right now is how people in Zen normally act, but then the rest of the paragraph, and the paragraph after it implies the opposite. No, it still says the same thing, though. More in line with how others in Zen spoke. Stiff and mechanical. It still says the same thing. Also, I think you would make this a... I think you would make this a colon in this case. But it still says but the thing is, it still says the same thing. It's saying that Medi's behavior at this moment is alike to the people in the city of Zen. But then the rest of the paragraph and the next paragraph suggests otherwise. It's supposed to be with... Oh. She says all this while putting on rather poor impressions of her mom and dad respectively. She even brings out a few old clothes to wear, while doing them to help sell the bit. Poor though they may be, you slightly enjoy seeing Medi's impressions of her parents, speaking more in line with that of the average person of the city of Zen. Stiff and mechanical. And then the rest of I think that's how I would maybe approach that. Fuck. That caught me off guard. Shit. If I had to type it out, I could have, like, maybe, yeah, my brain is weird. I can't dictate like that. It just comes out when I'm typing and writing. It flows more naturally if I'm typing or writing than if I'm, like, speaking. So I don't generally speak the way I write, or write the way I speak. The way I write is sort of how I speak, but it depends on if it's narration or dialogue. But generally, if it's narration, I write the same way I speak, similarly to how I speak, with a bit more of a clinical feel to it, while also employing more flowery language. And that sounds like they kind of conflict, but I think you've seen an example of that before. You've seen an example of my writing before, with the Kogasa thing. No one certainly acted anywhere near as playful and energetic as Medi did outside of times when they're expected to act as such. You could always sneak out and don't try to pretend like you don't. You make sure to add before Medi can interrupt you. You're gonna tell me your parents were really okay with you going to the market square to buy some alcohol by yourself. That was for an experiment! Medi objects. Though the almost neon red color her cheeks make the truth that much apparent. I wanted to know what effect alcohol would have on me, and Dad wouldn't let me have any. You were 15, Medi. 15 years, 245 days, 8 hours, 32 minutes, 28 seconds. Approximately. You roll your eyes at the overly precise number she lists off. God, you've forgotten what it felt like to be in control of a conversation and not constantly backpedaling against crazy strong beings. Oh, I'm sorry. How could I have forgotten that? Get off the bed just to fall back onto it dramatically. I seem to be falling to the failings of the flesh, dear Soka. Please do remember in the years to come. Nico! Huh? That wine was high enough that you're certain everyone downstairs heard that. Call me Soka, it's embarrassing! She's squirming on the spot, tugging on the hem of her shirt. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I forgot that you were viciously attacked once by a flower yokai that ripped apart your body and left only a head. Kirk. Come on, Miko. Maybe lets out a light laugh. Yokai don't exist and that didn't happen. I'll say it again, but yokai do exist. You said that a lot of times to many, but you certainly have much more reason to believe what you're saying than before. And I still stand that you were attacked by one. Vines don't just tangle up Holy God, why can't I read? Vines don't just tangle around a limb like they did. You're greatly exaggerating about Medi ending up being only a head, but there was a time when she got caught up in multiple vines and ended up getting one of her arms ripped off. Not why she hates being called Zoka, though. That's just because she doesn't think it sounds anywhere near as cute as Medi. Learned that fun fact for telling her about your fake glasses. To me to comment to come back later to fix it? Okay. Yes, they do. I even learned about it in school of how before we conquered the forest, people would lose limbs and even their lives to plants all the time, Medi says, standing proud with her eyes closed as if there's no counter to what she just said. Medi, you're literally the best gardener I've seen, read about, and possibly ever existed. You just look at her blankly for such a kiddie response. There's no way that was natural. Fucking... Bro, if Yuka or Yomu were here, like I think Miko would be getting a slap right about now. Do you think those fragments, do you think the Yuka and Yomu fragments just like suddenly, because Miko said this, suddenly decided like, you know what? Fuck you. And now they're unrecruitable in this story? So just like it's unnatural, you got a friend? Oh no, that's... Just like it's unnatural, you got a friend? Third voice joining makes you and Medi both jump in surprise. Aho? You let out the name as a small yelp. You're already back up? Of course I am. She strides into the room, look at the various items strewn about. I ain't going down for long because of some stupid flower. She gets worse injuries than this from shaving. Yuka shows up in the sea just to slap Miko. Welcome back, Tak. You missed a very agate line from Aho. Or maybe it's more like I just memed. Fuck, dude, I have a problem. I meme trails too much. Actually, Medi says, quickly slapping away Aho's hand, which he reaches for a purple umbrella. Yo! Oh. It's oh. I don't know whether to be happy because it's like, oh, the best girl in post fantasy is kind of sort of interacting with the best girl in Touhou. Or to be sad because like it's not her anymore. Or to be offended because what if Bob is just pandering? I was the reason for that. Ah, damn it. Oh? So what? Aho moves closer to Medi, poking her in the chest. Medi, though, doesn't move. Being a bit brave doing a sneak attack like that on me. You stand up, worried about what might be about to happen. Aho, please wait. I wasn't attacking you, Miss Aho. Oh, no. If Medi's addressing someone she just met as Miss... I was helping. Aho loudly scoffs and backs away. Oh, only a little. Go see the vet cat. Obviously been infected with... Look! Listen. Okay. Agate took a bullet laced with poison to protect Tita. And then when it was fucking with his head, because of the toxin it was coated with, everybody asked him, hey, you good? He's like, I'm fine. I get worse injuries than this from shaving. And now, we just saw Aho get fucking curb stomped by a flower, and now she's like, no, that's not a big deal. It's fine. It's literally the same. It's literally the same meme. Lily scoffs and backs away, though only a little. Interesting way of helping someone, then. Aho says, blithely picking up a coat off a rack. She must be an old resident, then, if you think that's how you're supposed to help someone. Medi rushes towards Aho, but Aho easily puts her arm out and stops the girl's approach. It'd be comedic if you didn't know what Medi was capable of. Don't touch that, you'll ruin it! What's a weak Sakumagami gonna do about me touching her friends? The sound of flames and mechanical gears fills the room. The two of them are ready to butt heads and fight. While you're still left standing on the sidelines, worried that Aho is about to mess things up because of a misunderstanding. You guys! You barge forward. In between the two, then to push them apart with yokai strength. But it's not gonna be enough to stop this right away. S-T-O-P! What? Huh? What kind? Oh! You didn't remember shit about Trails when you wrote a Word of Post Fantasy? You hadn't played it yet. Yeah, flowers in Kitsuki are scary. I mean... Well, these are the flowers on the Nameless Hill. So, like, the place where medicine likes to hang out. Also, this is, like, in the far future, where I guess these flowers I guess these flowers took up steroids? Since medicine stopped existing. Hopefully this won't be too noticeable. We're triggering the UU fragment again. Silence. A lack of something. An element missing that was previously there. Aho and Medi stop trying to get closer and move away. Confusion floods Medi's face while Aho just looks directly at you. In the time before that which is gone returns, Aho speaks. You've got to stop doing that. Then it returns. What? Bruh. Oh, dang it, she did notice. You must have killed the concept of conflict for too long then. Did something just break? You almost breathe a sigh of relief as Mei starts to look herself over, bring a hand up to cover one of her eyes. She just thinks something went wrong with her body and is doing a diagnostic check. Good. No, Medi, you just came to your senses, you say while pulling away Medi's hand from her face. Like hell, Miko. Come on, Aho. You just used that skill again and... Nope. You shout, with perhaps a bit too much force. Return to her sense, just like you did, Aho. I'm proud of both of you for managing to pull yourselves back. Miko, why the heck are you saying that? Girls is a Kumagami, don't need to talk like that. I'm not a tool and gods don't exist, Medi says, objecting to the label Aho has put on her. Miko. Aho turns away from the nearly bawling Medi. What's going on? Tomorrow morning you need to write something? Is she just making you die every time you see death? Oh, yo, if you wanted to go through the rest of those memes, the rest of... Fuck, dude, I had it pointed out to me in fucking Bob's chat, like how much I fucking used the word meme. Fuck me. If you wanted to go over those world building things, the world building doc, the rest of those, for tomorrow it would be great to die, but do. Wait, I don't understand. You think you die every time you see death? What if I told you that sometimes, occasionally, with certain things I've made in the past, I feel exactly the same way. You mean it'd be great to do? Okay. Okay, so we're triggering more skills. Again, your thoughts are outmoving common sense, Aho. Bring up the fan, cover your face as you begin to lecture the dragon. Her actions are far too black. Black? Oh, that's someone else's memory. It means, well, something like a sin or wrong action? Feels like it's a very complicated thing. Most you really get out of the vague memory tugging on your mind is that it's just a bad thing to be. Well, Medi has certainly worded her responses poorly. She should have been more forward about certain aspects. She didn't take her actions the worst possible way before even asking a single question. Oh fuck, she's getting preachy again. Can I just say, I still kind of hate Arbitrator. Now, if it was Azure Arbitrator, maybe a little different. You know, it's kind of a rockin' track, but it's not Azure Arbitrator. It's just Arbitrator. I dislike it because rather than make her good at arguing or good at being objective, she does that, but she does it in the most preachy way possible. Every single time. Aho annoyingly enough sighs right as you start to speak. She even has the audacity to turn her back and walk away and sit down on a chair while you speak. You sure you got only a few fragments on you? Not one for Super Shrine Maiden level nag? Aho says, waving a hand dismissively as she sits in the old rocking chair. Oh, please watch how you speak around Medi, you say, washing your face of any worry that might be trying to escape. You can't help but steal a glance at the doll when Aho mentions the fragments. Medi, for her part, has resumed the diagnostic scan and seems to be ignoring the current conversation. And Medi, you should be listening to this as well, you exclaim, loud enough to stir the girl from her operations. You've once again nearly caused an incident by talking too simply. Not everyone has the same information as you do, remember? Medi at least is quick on the uptake and is aware enough to look down in shame of her actions when she nods. Sorry, Miko. I'll try better next time. Please do. Now can we please start this over and talk like civilized humans this time? You say, looking at both individuals. Medi looks up and eagerly nods her head, while Aho gives a small chuckle. Aho? Yeah, sure. Nothing human about either of us, but I get what you mean, she says. The room falls silent for a second, as the three of you stand in a triangle apart from each other. It almost feels like you all are in a duel, waiting for... No, okay, I was gonna meme, but I don't care enough. Waiting for someone to make the first strike with their words. Seeing Medi uncomfortably moving about on the spot as Aho reaches for another object sitting around, you decide you'll make the first strike. Aho, don't just touch the things here. Medi really doesn't like it when you do that without permission. You were right about the duel. Both people instantly stare at you though... Okay, should probably be a comma here. As both people instantly stare at you, though with extremely different reactions. Medi's looking at you with pure glee for speaking up where she was afraid to after getting spoken down to. Aho looks closer at being confused to your request. Huh? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? What am I touching? Her great-grandma or something? Despite Aho's words making it sound like she'd just keep doing what she was doing, she thankfully stopped herself from touching the violin her hand was just an inch away from. No, it's that... Medi, do you want to explain? You gingerly lift up your hand and gesture to hopefully get her to speak up. For your part, you also move back towards the bed, which is across the room. And it works just as you wanted, because you pass between Medi and Aho. They end up looking directly at each other. Yes, she says, nearly jumping at the opportunity to talk about the subject. You're supposed to treat everything with respect, and you're just picking up with no plans on using them. So that's disrespectful. Aho seems to mull the words over for a moment before she speaks again. Though, when she does, her confusion is even more pronounced. Thought Tsukumagami would be totally up for having more of you kind of about. Leaving them in dumps and stuff to make more of them? Not take care of them like they're little babies or what have you? Just to clear something up, Aho, you pipe in. Already seeing the building annoyance on Medi's face at being called Tsukumagami yet again. Medi isn't a yokai. Of course I'm not! She's a doll. Aho looks dumbly between you and Medi. She looks once, then twice, then even a third time, with her expression becoming more and more twisted with confusion each time. But that is a Tsukumagami. You know, a living object? She's totally alive and stuff. So I don't get it. She finally says, slumping in her chair, she rubs her head. Hey, Medi. You turn towards the doll. Do you mind if I explain? Medi, while keeping an eye on Aho, moves towards the bed, sits down next to you before she speaks. Wish you would at least try to stay still when she's thinking something over. Moving around constantly to be facing her can sometimes be annoying. Sure. But I'll correct you if you get a single fact wrong. She says that last part while puffing out her cheeks. Steam whistles out as her cheeks expand. Fine with me. Nod your head before turning to Aho. So, I understand you are confusion somewhat. Heck, when I first met Medi, I thought she was a Tsukumagami too. Kirk. You even started to pray to me the moment we were alone. Medi, is that really essential for Aho to know? Why couldn't you forget about that already? And why did that seem to have Aho become more interested? It's coming from Aki. It is, but wait, no. We don't have an Aki fragment. We don't have a Yamazanadu fragment. That was a skill Miko unlocked on her own from choosing to yell at Tomo and Aho in chapter 3. Like, she just unlocked that after she told them both off. That wasn't attached to a fragment. Unless what you're saying... I'm not looking at chat, by the way, right now. Unless what you're saying is that skills she can just unlock on her own, that are her own passives or her own actives or whatever, can still be either influenced by fragments or granted by fragments. But they're her skills and not the skill of the fragment. That Omake, you wish to fix things? It's easy to fix stuff. It's a bit of something you abandon at a point. Therefore, the rewrite that still needs to happen. Originally envisioned that some skills she could gain could originate from fragments without having sad fragments. Like I just said. Without having said fragments. Okay. Medi, is it really that essential for Aho to know? Why couldn't you forget about that already? And why did it seem to make Aho become more interested? Anyway, wait, hang on. Why is this a different paragraph? It's still Miko speaking. I mean, oh well, no, I can see why you would break that up. Actually, never mind. Well, because this is like more of an aside, so I could see why you would break that. Take it back. Anyway, Medi was born dead, and that's still one of the few things that can't be fixed in Zen. It's a sad fact, but millions of children every day come out of the womb already dead. It's more or less an epidemic. But Medi's parents weren't willing to just give up. Those two would work over the course of an entire day to bring their daughter back to the world, to the world of living. We forgot to mention just how amazing Mom and Dad are. Medi sounds cheery as she speaks of her parents. Mom was the head at whatever the fuck this word is. And that still works for whatever the fuck this word is. They're experts in everything scientific. If anyone could help me, it was going to be them. Eddie, please don't say those places like that. You ask kindly as you move your hands away from your ears. I know you're talking about the school in the center, but please. Oh, sorry, Miko. May apologizes quickly for the mistake. But not before just as quickly appending to that apology. But you really should hear them more. It's just a placebo effect. You don't bother addressing that. Medi's nice enough to listen to your request to call the places in Zen what you call them, but sometimes she does forget. Where was I? Part about reviving the dead? Was there anything not magical about that? Aho was looking rather displeased when Medi started to gush about her parents and science, and right now, she's all too glad to correct the girl. Well, I'm sure it isn't. And so are my parents. Strange. Why did Aho stop? She's definitely about to object to what you were saying. Could just be she still remembers what you told her before about taking action faster than common sense. As I was saying, Medi's parents worked for an entire day to revive her. They used a doll that was supposedly created by the first in their family line to revive her. Normally, I'd label something like that as magic, but the doll had been upgraded over the generations with technology directly from the center, and could probably more safely be called a robot than a doll at the point they finally made use of it. If so, Vance, why the hell does her body got all those dumb joints still? Aho asks, while pointing to exposed joints on Medi's arm. Medi, unprompted, takes off her shirt. So underneath is something you've seen many times before, so you don't react at all when she does so. Medi's had you help her perform maintenance more than once, and at one point, even had to help reattach one of her limbs. Her more mechanical nature becomes apparent with the shirt removed. Where the lines on her arms are rather hard to see unless closely examining her, the same cannot be said for her torso. No sexual features present. No. Instead, many different and intersecting thin black lines can be seen on her body. From in between the lines, there's a light red glow. Sounds of machinery at work within. Mom and Dad couldn't use almost any of my original body. The only thing they could take was my brain, Medi says, while turning her back where even more lines can be seen. They don't have any inherent pattern to them and almost seem random. Though in actuality, each one can open up to expose different parts of her internals to access and repair at any time. Yeah. You trace one of the lines as you look at Aho, whose face is a carefully created blank to hide whatever she's truly thinking at the moment. So, Medi, you tap the doll's back and she turns her head towards you without moving her body. Is something wrong, Miko? You're only letting Aho see this because I know here, right? You haven't shown anyone else, right? You ask. Or they may not have been paying enough attention to Medi's behavior and she carelessly exposed her nature to someone else. Medi's entire body shifts to be facing towards you and Aho without her head moving even slightly. Miko, I'm not stupid! She says through puffed cheeks. I wouldn't let you tell Aho anything if I didn't trust you to keep her straight. Ha! Keep me straight. Funny one, kid. Aho says, laughing hard enough to rock back and forth a bit. Why even care about me learning? Ain't this kind of thing normal enough in this world? No. You shake your head quickly. Yes, there are things that can be accomplished in Zen are amazing, even reviving someone who's been dead for days, but none of those techniques or technologies have ever worked on reviving those who were born dead. There's a good chance that if anyone normally found out about Medi, she'd trail off. Unable to even speak about the possibilities of what might happen to Medi. Her parents told you once what would likely happen to her. It's actually why you come to this place. Not to bless the home, but to bless Medi. Your request from the gods to protect the girl from the dangers of the world and the granted luck needed to keep on living. It's fine, Miko. Medi puts her shirt back. This one again? Fuck off with the musical spoilers. This is just more musical spoilers. Medi puts back on her shirt and pats you on the head. She has to stand on her tippy toes for doing so, which kind of ruins the intended effect, but I do appreciate the gesture nonetheless. You and Mom and Dad wouldn't let anything bad happen, I know it. Hurts to see Medi smile like that. She's always put so much trust in you and her family, and you still aren't sure if you can live up to those expectations. Okay, so she ain't a Sakumbagami. Still didn't explain the thing about knocking me out before. Oh, huffs. Tired from this long deviation from things. You can't wait for a trail song to come up titled Joshua's Finale, Death and Sacrifice. And... oh, that's much easier to explain, Manny says with another bright smile. You took a blast of Raiko to the face. It's a flower here that can cause blindness, intense pain, and death if left in a person's skin as it melts into it and starts to create a plant within the host body. It's amazing you managed to only scream in agony from getting an entire flower's worth of it in your face. Medi doesn't drop her cheerful smile in the slightest as she speaks. Actually, when she mentions how amazing it is that Aho only screamed in agony, she seems even more excited. Kid, I would have been fine after like 30 minutes or something. She gets worse injuries than this from shaving, after all. Stop! Why am I doing it again? It's the same fucking meme. Stop! Aho sighs as she speaks. It sure hurt her tongue, but I felt worse. You have to go knocking me out or nothing. You've been hurt worse? May's entire attitude makes a not-so-subtle shift from interested to obsessed within a single sentence. Whatever hesitance or dislike she had of Aho early is either erased or overwhelmed by excitement at the possibility of learning something new. She makes a quick dash to Aho, dragging the dragon by her arms out of the chair and onto the medical bed where she pulls out from onto the medical bed she pulls out from the wall. What the? Get off me, you stupid doll! Aho shouts as she struggles beneath Medi's grip. In turn, parts of Medi's body morph, become grips better equipped to hold the ancient dragon down. Of course, you're surprised at what you see. No, not because Medi's gone ahead and started to play doctor. She did that to you on multiple occasions before. No, it's because, once again, she's managed to overpower Aho. You knew Medi could be stupidly strong before, and that she easily tends the entire Toxicome by herself every day, but you didn't think that translates so well to physical strength. Did you get the same modifications as Miko? A needle comes out of Medi's back and quickly takes a sample of Aho's blood. Ow, get off of me, you idiot! How the heck are you even this strong? Aho is more or less giving a good chance of trying to get Medi off of her, but Medi's using her mechanical body to its fullest. She moves about quickly and in ways which allow her to keep grips on all four of Aho's limbs. You're outputting strength on par with an Atlas install too, but I can't find any on you. Your clothes are also showing signs of a quality I haven't seen before. Are they made of fire? Aho's eyes narrow at Medi's correct deduction. Medi moves her face to be extremely close to Aho, and you can see a spark in her eye that screams of danger. Enough so that you're no longer comfortable letting Medi have her fun. Well, you would be, at least somewhat. Since it's fun to see Aho look so uncomfortable, at least a little fun. What isn't fun, though, is seeing Aho's raincoat quickly losing its form and heat begin to perforate the room. The flames Aho is letting off are intense enough to start to singe Medi's clothes. Medi's too occupied trying to look closer at Aho's face to notice, though. Medi's a good and special kid, even if she's not a kid. We got another skill being used. Medi! You scream as you pull the girl off Aho. With Medi devoting so much effort into keeping Aho pinned down, it's easy enough for you to pull the near mechanical girl off your companion. You overcompensate and end up slamming the girl into yourself into a wall. It barely even makes a noise except a low hum. Oh, come on, Miko! In fact, she goes right to complaining as she keeps up and puts her body into a more human shape. It's not wrong to be curious. She even has the audacity to puff her cheeks like you've done something wrong. You look around quickly, because it should be here somewhere. Ah, there. Bad, Medi. Bad! You say, as you squirt water at her face. The emergency spritzer. Yes, it's more than a tad silly to use, but sometimes the most humiliating of measures must be used to teach a person a lesson.
God, Miko, please, how did you even find that?
She says as her clothes become soaking wet.
I thought you forgot about that!
What the hell am I even seeing? Aho, now up from the medical bed, simply staring, she sees before her. Which makes sense. It's not every day you see a shrine maiden with abilities from ancient times spraying water onto a hyper-advanced robot that looks like a doll created by a family that treats objects with the same respect as people. Neither do people usually see said doll begin to crawl around the room on all fours trying to get out of reach of the shrine maiden's accursed spritzer, and then be chased around like an annoying fly. It's probably worse if it goes on for 15 minutes. It's even worse than in the end, Aho is the one who ended it by simultaneously smacking both you and Medi on the heads. I have a picture for this as well. Hang on, I gotta find it. Okay. Not the best. Also, before I knew how to actually accurately draw Betty, but it's fine. There's our illustration of this scene. Good memes. It's good memes. And it's more personally shameful that she's the one who had to remind you about getting back to the shrine on time. The way I said that makes you think that there's a cop nearby who goes, "We have no idea what the crime scene even looks like." And you pop up from nowhere, like you say, "I've got a picture for that." I mean, I don't. I'm befuddled by that assessment. Can't believe you stuck in again. The horribleness didn't end once you left Melancholy's home, though. Because, of course, and he insisted on escorting you and Aho out. Betty, you know I can't get an official pass like you and your parents. How else do you expect me to get in otherwise? And please, hold still. You shout in frustration, as Betty once again bobs up and down, up just a little too much as she walks and interrupts your ritual. Then why don't you buy her mine or my parents' one then? That'd be fine if I only had to go out with you. Betty says, bring up an age-old solution she thinks would be just fine. No, it wouldn't be. It's illegal to give me your pass, and if you're caught without it, if I'm caught with it, we'd be in major trouble. Gosh, she moves again. It's hard to pull off this ritual while walking enough as it is. Spinning around on a small broken path, surrounded by deadly plants, isn't easy. It wouldn't if we're careful, and the argument is dumb and you know it, because I'm basically doing something way more dangerous every day I got to school. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're correct. You spit out as you finally manage to do the ritual. Oh shit, Miko is memeing too now. Makes sense if I turn my eyes around? How? And by that I mean, how do I have to turn my eyes? You spit out as you finally manage to do the ritual, stopping your spin just in time to tap Medi on the head. Feel relief in the air as what you imagine the negative energies that were trapped inside Medi leave. What does that mean? Medi whines as you and her and Aho finally reach the barrier's official exit. You shrug your shoulders. I don't know, heard it somewhere. Something about being correct technically, but not morally, at least so. You say, trying to provide some answer to the line you spouted without a second thought. It's dumb. If your facts are right, then you'll always be right. It's the way the world works. Now that genuine smile she gives when she says that. That is how this world works. Such an idea as having facts correct, but them being wrong is still more or less inconceivable. But maybe. You know, I won't see you again for an entire week normally. You turn away from Medi as you speak. It'd be really annoying if you did. Especially seeing you at the shrine. Then I have to show you how me and Aho got so strong. Kirk. Yeah, that sure would be terrible if that happened. Don't bother turning around as you hear Medi start to take off. Anyway, see you soon, Miko. And nice meeting you, Miss Aho. Medi shouts as she takes off behind you. As she takes off behind you, back towards her home. Welcome back. Okay, I was keeping quiet since that kid's clearly crazy. But you know she could fly? Yeah, are you really that surprised? You say as you crane your neck to look at Aho behind you. Kinda? More so kinda annoyed you didn't do a thing to stop your friend from assaulting me before. Aho and you continue to move out of the toxin zone as you speak. Passing by through the gray barrier that ignores you, thanks to being close enough now. It really is helpful when Medi escorts you out of the zone, but you don't like having to hear her complain at you. Hey, you object. I definitely got her off you there, and she isn't my friend. You really ain't a friend of hers? Aho asks with what may be rightful doubt. Of course, you shout, exasperated and having to clarify this. Mom and Dad would tease you all the time about being friends with Medi, but it was never true. We're just good family acquaintances. You seem close for being just that. I didn't think I saw you get even... I don't think I even saw you get close to that relaxed around me and run. Fuck, I can't read. You seem close for being just that. I don't think I saw you get even close to that relaxed around me or the gals. Aho pauses for a second, while staring at the sky. Not the line. Not the line. Maybe it is. Two are a good distance away from the barrier at this point. That may be the kid. You're always treating her well. No, because like staring at the sky, looking up at the... Staring at the sky, looking up at the sky. You're making me... Bro. Okay, you know what? You deserve this because you made me think of it. Okay, it's fine. This is your fault. I'm gonna victim blame, alright? You blatantly ignore Aho's comment and look up into the sky as well. Dang it. We've got at least an hour trip back if we're sprinting the whole time. Probably more. Honestly, you at least hadn't thought the trip to Melancholy's would take so long. Should have planned for less time. Well, guess there's only one solution then, Aho says with a toothy grin. You think for a moment, then another, and you feel your complexion pale. This realization dawns on you. No. No, 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 no. You back away quickly as Aho lives up to her role as a hunter and approaches you. Come on, Miko. You're gonna make it back in time otherwise. She says. She says that like she's making a big sacrifice here, but she hasn't lost the grin. Please let me have a few seconds before we go! Your attempts to beg Aho to give you some time to prepare are ignored as she once again takes hold of you and zooms quickly into the sky, going higher and higher by the second. Aho! You scream the name of your captor into the unscaring sky as she cackles madly in joy of your panic. Okay, it's like, yeah, we got like another half hour of stream. We could keep going, or we could do some side story memes. I feel like I want to at least do this part, because I feel like it's like shorter. As you look out across the sky, having climbed out of the back of Teki, you can't help but raise your head as high as you can, even with Teki holding your legs in place. Mommy's gonna be late! Ika, don't move too much. It's already hard to fly with you on my back without you trying to jump too. Teki whines as you push yourself forward so your arms are kept steady by putting them on Teki's head. But I can't see Big Sis, Miss Dragon anywhere. They said they'd be back before the sun went down, and you can barely even see the sun. There's no way you could just keep still when Mommy might be coming back when Mommy might be coming up any second now. You want to show off all the food Teki taught you about? Ika, wait, don't! Teki tries to stop you as you push yourself too far and begin falling down to the ground not too far below. Teki taking you up only a little above the big red gate thing, and even then, she tried to make you promise to stay still. She had tried to make you promise to stay still. And yeah, you fall for a second or two, but it's fine. You remember what Teki taught you. First you think about your back, then focus on it. You feel for a point of power, and then put all you can in it before you splash. Do not break the fourth wall. Keep reading. I'm trying. 14 pages for this section. Eesh. This section has a chapter. That's Chapter 4 is literally 201 pages long, and we are currently on page 115. Gah.
Techie!
You scream out as you flail about in the water after dropping in. Thought you had more time to focus, and now you're wet and scared, and can't even hope to see Mommy from here, and Techie is quick and swoops down from where she was in the sky to lift you up out of the lake and plop you back on the land. You're coughing up some water that got stuck in your mouth as Techie pats you on the back while speaking. Ikai, are you alright? Oh no. I knew I should have listened to Rule 212 and kept you grounded. Techie's words of concern hit harder because you could see your doppel desperately moving around like she's trying to find any and all injuries you might have. You wave your hands trying to brush both the doppel and Techie away, but end up tripping and nearly falling to the ground before Techie catches you. I'm fine, Techie. I just fell into the lake. Move yourself out of Techie's arms and stare intently at her, feeling your cheeks puff out in frustration. I'm not that delicate. Sure, before Mommy had helped you before, you weren't feeling good at basically any time. But since then you felt great. And if Techie would let you eat more candy, you'd feel even better. Techie hums as she turns around. You hear the sound of pages flipping. It's amazing that her doppel is still looking at you when Techie herself seems to not even be paying attention to you. Though you've realized that Techie's just that amazing to do both at the same time. I don't know, Igai. Techie looks at you doubtfully. I've got it written that kids are most likely to hurt themselves trying new things. And I know for a fact you're going to... No! You shout preemptively, a blush flourishing on your face as you turn away from the fairy. I was just really excited for Big Sis to come back. I want to show her the food I can make. You are going to admit that Techie is right about why you were so okay being so reckless while flying up decently high. Oh. You hear Techie snap her fingers as she comes to a realization. You're still upset that I didn't let you have any more candy, right? It's hard not to jump in surprise when, with the blink of an eye, Techie's in front of you smiling with complete confidence. It's even harder not to look at her when you speak again, grumbling all the while. No. Mommy is great, but you don't get it. What's wrong with having tasty stuff whenever you want? Techie says she eats stuff like Gumpedo all the time and she's totally fine. Techie laughs. She takes your hand, and you continue to refuse to look at the fairy. She takes you back to the shrine. Of course, of course. When you get back, you refuse to go into the kitchen with Techie and crawl into the Kitatsu. It's nice and warm in there, and you have to see Techie's stupid grin. You don't have to listen to Mommy just because she said something. You grumble into the pillow you pulled with you into the Kitatsu underside. Because, sure, Techie and Mommy are great, and you like them both tons. But Mommy is totally wrong about the tasty stuff. It tastes good, so it's good for you. How complicated could it be? You frown as you continue to grumble up at the unfairness of Mommy and getting to go out without you. Techie and Mommy not letting you eat good food, and most of all, how are you even here? You whisper through the gritted teeth as Techie's doppel comes under the Kitatsu with you. She's got a grin like her real counterpart, but she's not nice enough to stay away from you when you super duper don't want to see her. It doesn't help too that Techie's doppel, even after spending the majority of the day alone with the fairy, is still a complete mystery to you. No one else's doppel has ever managed to move so far away or almost act like a different person entirely like this. You gotta go? Okay. See you later, Miles. Thanks for stopping by. You guys totally the type of kid who would end up turned off of candy after being allowed to eat all the Halloween candy she has in one night. No, the next second chapter stream from Bob is gonna be on Tuesday, and I'm streaming Trails from Zero tomorrow, but on my other channel. And we're gonna do another we're gonna do another reading of this same fanfic on next Thursday. Or should be next Thursday. Where are we? I think we got to the end of it. Yeah. No one else's doppel has ever managed to move so far away or act like almost a completely different person entirely like this. Sure, there was the scary lady, but even then, Her doppelganger only ever looked where she was looking and kept real close. Heki's doppel, on the other hand, seems to move whenever it wants to. It follows you around, reacts to what you say, even when there's no way Teki can hear you. And you swear for a second, she even touched you once. And no, you weren't being bratty like Teki called you earlier. You were totally in the right when you complained about not being allowed more compado. If they just listened to you, it'd be so much easier. Hey, youkai! Teki calls you from the kitchen, sounding almost like she's singing when she speaks. Would you like to come help me make dinner? You cover your ears. La 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 la! I can't hear any dumb fairy who won't let me fly higher or let me eat any good food. Can't hear any such fairy at all! Yeah, that'll teach Teki for not doing the right thing. Oh, that's too bad. Now I was gonna let youkai taste all the food I was test all the food I was making. You won't fall for that. You've been doing that anyway when Teki wasn't looking. So why should you care? Including the ice cream I'm making. You rush out of the Katatsu and head towards the kitchen. Mommy should definitely be fine with you eating the ice cream right now, if it's to make sure it tastes good for her. Oh, the happiness you felt when youkai finally came into the kitchen with you was indescribable. Well, not really. But it's not as fun to describe it in detail. It's almost been 4 hours now since Aho and Miko left the shrine. During that time, well, fuck, it's only been 4 hours in the story? Shit, I remember it being like a fucking month in real time. The time in this story moves as slow as the time does in Trails. During that time, you've been having a hard time dealing with youkai. She's been really rather rowdy since Miko left, though that's likely because this is the first time she's been explicitly told not to do something she liked doing. Yes, candy. You enjoy candy and treats and have them all the time, but Miko already told you that you can't give any more to youkai until later. And when you told youkai that, she more or less blew up. She whined over and over about how unfair it was and how it didn't make any sense and all those things kids do. Well, at least that's what they apparently do. It's basically the first time your notebook had been right about something about how youkai would behave. It's when you'd like it to be wrong the most. She tried to distract her by promising her what would turn out to be way too much. It was really tiring using so much fantasy just to make small bits of food and teach her that stuff, and youkai was really good at quickly picking up how to use fantasy, but that just made things so much harder. She would keep trying to change recipes by adding sugar at random points and kept licking the batter with ingredients off the utensils. Iga is super cute and great, but she's quickly turned out to not be so great when she's denied her sweets. So, when she did add the sugar or lick the food, she seemed happy. We even ended up adding a note to ignore any time Igai did something kind of bad like that, because she's totally right about the things that make you happy and good for you. Well, unless those things also hurt others, then that's bad. Made it really hard to talk back against Igai when she complained because, totally agree with her. The best you could do is move on from one topic to another quickly enough so that she would hopefully not cement in her mind how right she is. Though, she is right, and when Miko gets back, you're totally gonna have a talk with her about how pointless it is to stop Igai and you from having delicious treats. And normally, humans would have to shake the milk for a long time, focus on the idea of slightly freezing the milk, wave your hand, the bowl appears through the nice. In the bowl appears the nice and simple ice cream. Normally you do something much more complicated, but for Igai, like to not overwhelm her with the really good ice cream to start with. It's so hard not to rush and hug her when she's looking like that. Her eyes wide, nearly drooling, and nearly climbing out of the counter to get to the bowl. Of course, you make sure she doesn't go on the counter since she'd make the room a complete mess. That's something people sure don't like you doing. And, yeah, letting Igai test the ice cream is skirting around what Miko said. But how could you not do this? Igai was looking really sad when it started to seem like Miko and Aho weren't coming back in time. You couldn't just let the poor girl be completely miserable. Take a spoonful of ice cream and bend down, giving the utensil to Igai. Here you go, official taste tester, Igai. She quickly puts the spoon in her mouth and gulps down the ice cream. Wait a second, you see her shiver from both the cold dessert and the sweet taste before speaking again. What do you think about the ice cream? You ask, excited to hear Igai's response to your work. It's so cold, she says, shivering in place. It's so tasty.
You were right about ice cream being really tasty, Techie.
Slam. Techie? Whoops. Turn your head to see Miko in the doorway. Her eyes almost blazing with fairy at the scene she sees before her. Aho is right behind her, face palming. You don't need to know. You don't need to look to know that you guys run right behind you.
Hi?
You nervously say as you slowly wave at the two who've just returned. Okay, sure. This is totally gonna suck. And you might have done something wrong. But at least you guys looked happy before Miko came in. God. But the flight over was bad enough. Didn't even get a single chance to speak as Aho blazed off with you hanging on for dear life towards the shrine. Heck, the sun was far enough down on the way back that the conditions for night strength were met. Which you would gladly use to hold on to Aho even tighter. Heck, you think you even swallowed a fly or three before you realized you should keep your mouth closed when flying with Aho. So coming back to the shrine, shaking like crazy since you haven't gotten, well, as Aho calls them, your flight sets, and walking towards where you heard Igai and Teki speaking. Of course you were raging upset to see the two eating ice cream, of all things. And whatever else Teki had been feeding Igai, since there were multiple bowls you could just see from the entrance into the kitchen. And that's what brought you here. Yet again, having to tell Teki off for messing around and listening to her excuses as to why it's definitely fine that she was feeding Igai tons of garbage while you were away.
But I was just showing her to make some food.
You can't help but roll your eye. Can't help but roll your eyes. Teki says the same thing yet again, slightly differently worded. Time scale kills humans who've gone 3 years in a week? Oh shit, is it that scene? The one you regret a lot? Maybe you don't know, you hope not. I don't know. I don't know which scenes you regret, and I don't know why. Teki, man, at least 3 servings of food here. I frankly don't care if Igai was only having a spoonful each time. That's way too much to eat before dinner. It's even more frustrating, because at this point, you're almost certain that Teki's wasting the food you bought last time you went out. He's using so much to show Igai how to cook? And you should just teach her about cooking when you should be cooking. Don't just cook like that and waste food, you say, continuing to berate the fairy for her lax behavior. And Teki looks like she's nearly ready to keep arguing with you, but something must have changed because her posture changes to one of defeat, and she looks down to the ground. Wait, they're outside? No. Sorry, Miko. I swear I'll do better next time, she says glumly as she walks out of the kitchen to the main room with Igai following behind her. She just quietly stares at the kitchen with bowls upon bowls of now wasted small portions of food. I don't have anywhere to store this much food, and so little for each bowl, it wouldn't even be worth doing if you could. Sigh. Look around in despair at the fact that you're now saddled with fixing all this. I always think I could relax after we got back. Should have known better. Move towards the first bowl, which looks to be filled with some chopped up apples. Almost palm at the blatant disregard for the instructions you left Teki before going. Like, sure, apples can be healthy for you, but it's hard to call them anything other than sweet when they're as red as these ones. It's actually rather surprising when you see Aho join your side and start helping you clean up. You give her sideways glance of confusion. Aho seems to pointedly ignore the silent questions of why she's helping with something so menial, but nevertheless still speaks. Sure you should have been so harsh on Tech? She moves smoothly and with good efficiency. Though, you notice she keeps going towards odd places and opening up cupboards before closing them again. Maybe I shouldn't. You speak quietly, not wanting Igai or Teki to hear your conversation. But I'm more so angry with Teki because of what it means for Igai. I'm assuming you mean about teaching a kid good manners and whatnot? Yeah, not there, you say as Aho starts putting a plate away. That goes in the bottom left one. Okay. Anyway, yes, that's right. Now, what should you do with the peas? Maybe you could reuse them for dinner later? Yeah, it's not even a month old. I can't help but think that letting her just do whatever she wants would be a bad idea. What? Words will turn out like Tech, me, or something worser? Surely it's meant to be worse. You stare silently at Aho as she occasionally takes the food from the plates and bowls she's cleaning up and popping them in her mouth. These other two helpings before Aho slows down, not stops. Stares back at you. Okay. It'd be bad for a weakling like her to try and act like me. Heck, can they get bad? Just forgetful? You ask, finishing Aho's sentence as you put a bit too much force disposing of the ice cream. That's fine. I do understand how bad it is for her. But making that behavior seem normal to Igai isn't what I want. Well then, what do you want? You wipe your brow as you look around the now clean kitchen, taking the moment to think about what exactly you really want for Igai. Because so far, all you've done with the kid is treat her well and try to have her learn manners. Because it make sure that she treats others well, listens to you, and not much else. So then, what do you want for Igai? The only thing you're certain you want to do is take care of her, but to what end? What I want for Igai is her to be happy, but more than that, I guess, why is there an opening quotation mark here? I want her to be herself. Funnily enough, you weren't sure what you were going to say to Aho until the words came out of your mouth. Aho stares incredulously at you. I didn't want her doing just whatever she wanted. Aho says she closes the kitchen door. A small gesture that you appreciate. Well, yeah, you awkwardly admit. Addressing that seeming contradiction between what you want for Igai. What she's doing right now, it just doesn't seem good for her. I want her to live as she wants, but I want Igai to live well. Aho thoughtfully hums as she taps her chin with one finger. Turns her head upwards to face the ceiling while closing her eyes. Sure. But how do you know what you think is good for her is, well, good for her? Aho's voice doesn't carry any judgment in it. Doesn't offer any hint as to what words she might want to hear from you. Though, looking for guidance from Aho in this subject matter is dubious at best. She's a dragon who hasn't interacted with humans, or really anyone, for a long time. It's honestly more likely that Aho is looking for insight from you more than vice versa. I guess I don't. Man, real interesting this floor is. Much more interesting than looking at Aho right now. But I know Mom and Dad raised me well. So I'd like to have Igai at least have some of the same values as me. Aho gives a light humph. Hoping you ain't gonna include being a doormat. You look up from the floor to Aho, then your face scrunch up in annoyance at having this brought up now of all times. Aho, we're talking about Igai. Can we please save this for later? You ask, almost begging the dragon to listen to your request. Hell no. Aho brazenly says as she moves up to be within spitting distance of you. They let someone I helped save end up a horrid coward who lets weaklings mess with them. Aho, I'm not a coward for not hurting people. You can almost feel the exhaustion that's come from having this conversation. The only other time you had to explain this was to Medi. You visited her house and bothered to hide or treat the wounds you had. It's fine to be hurt and do nothing about it then? Aho approaches you. You hear the effort she's putting not to raise her voice. Consequences be damned. If any of these idiots tried to ram stone into my head, I'd have blown them away. Because you don't have to worry about the consequences. You shout in a whisper. Unlike you, I am weak. Even with the power of the fragments, I'm still weak. And even if I was strong, you start saying, interrupting the inevitable retort Aho was going to give. I hurt people just because they hurt me. The room goes slightly brighter as Aho's voice also grows stronger. So when are you going to fight back? Are you going to let him kill you without doing a thing? Let him hurt the kid, Tech, everyone you care about too? No! Your voice raises high as you loudly object. Of course not! I'd never let anyone be hurt just because they know me. Not... Again. You trail off as memories starting to surface from harsher times. But that's not needed right now. It's not. It ain't fine when others are getting stoned, but it's fine when you are. Aho's glow gradually becomes darker and darker as she speaks. You got any pride in yourself? Look away from Aho, gripping the tabletop to steady yourself as you take controlled breaths. In and out. In and out. I have pride in my family. Isn't that enough? Shakily say in a bated breath. Hell it is. Grip on the tabletop is intense. Enough so that with the extra strength provided by your passives, you feel it breaking. Before you can turn the part you're grabbing into rubble, you feel Aho's hand grip your arm and pull you away. He's pulled you in close and is staring at you with a fierce intensity locked behind her eyes. Since he clearly ain't got a clue what to do with the kid, I'm gonna help. Ao's grip tightens. She mentions helping. Your eyes open wide at that. Once again surprised by Aho going above and beyond any duty she may have. Wait, Aho. You've done a lot already. You don't need... Yes, I do, you dumbass. Aho quickly interrupts. I gotta take my superior wisdom to know that you're a walking mess of problems. And it's my duty as a dragon to take care of those I save. Aho, please, it'll be fine. Even when you apply as much power as possible to getting out of Aho's grip, you find yourself completely unable to move. Just have a few issues because I was naive growing up. And you're still naive now, so shut up. I'm gonna be helping you no matter what you say. Aho isn't caring for anything you might say further. She takes the action to aggressively drag you out of the kitchen to the main room. Probably said something bad when Igai and Teki sitting in the room around the kotatsu peacefully look much more mature than you and Aho when you two joined them. Seeing their expressions reminds you of a child having to keep quiet after hearing their parents argue. But that isn't what's happening here, of course. They were looking down at the table before you and Aho came in because they were rightfully seeing what they've been doing before you got back. And when Aho lets you go, tossing you slightly towards the two troublemakers, you brush yourself off and try to regain a sense of control. It's more than a little inevitable that some of the nervousness from talking with Aho moments ago would leak into your voice when you speak now, but you would try to push past that. Clear your throat. So, Teki, turn to just a green-haired fairy at fault for part of this current mess. You don't remember the scene being so engaging? Also, fuck, you can feel the agate she has, even if she was never supposed to have any? Bro, did you forget the reason why I fucking love Aho so much? It's because you made her it's because you made a character who's basically Jolter light. You made a character who's basically... she went from being like Jolter light to being like agate. So she went from being like rough to being much, much softer. Like, I would say agate is like way softer than Jolter. You bait and switched me. Congrats. I know that yokai don't need food to survive. And it doesn't really matter what they eat, you say, consulting the knowledge you've gained previously thanks to Aho as you speak. But you're both wasting food and taking Igai's expectations of what's okay to eat by haphazardly making random food for her. Especially the sweets. You stare full force into the fairy's eye when you speak of the sweets she's given to Igai. Teki isn't weak, though. Doesn't turn away. In fact, she actually speaks up. But I didn't waste any food, Miko! She exclaims, nearly whining instead of properly talking. I made everything without even using a bit of the food from the pantry. Yeah. Wait, yeah. It's almost odd hearing Igai speak up, so then when you turn towards her, your eyes widen slightly. Teki didn't use any of the food. She made it all pure with magic. You make a quick look behind you to Aho to see if she can confirm such a thing is possible, but she looks just as confused as you at the statement. Igai, food doesn't just magically appear normally, you say gently, hoping to let the girl down from whatever trick Teki might have done to entertain a kid while you were away. You wrote first chapter and second chapter without realizing it? Great. You have no control over which piece of fiction you steal from. Like, she started out being very Jolter, and then in an extremely short amount of time, she shifted from being very harsh and crass like Jolter to being tough love like Agate. Which is why I was so astonished when you hated Agate so much in first chapter, because you basically already wrote him. What the fuck? It's been 30 minutes already since I last looked at the fucking clock? Holy shit. You like Agate now in second chapter? What? Teki pipes up, rapidly switching from looking at you, and then Aho, clearly shocked.
I mean, I understand Miko not understanding, but I thought you'd get it, Aho!
Get what? Aho asks, her look of confusion growing even more pronounced.
About being able to make things from fantasy, of course.
Teki cusps her hands together.
Look, like this!
At first it seems as if nothing's happening, but rapidly you see small particles form in the air. Pure white snow that glimmers like glitter and condenses Teki's palms. As they gather, they grow into an orb no bigger than a cup. They shield whatever is happening in the center of their palms in an orb of white before dispersing away. And in Teki's hands, now a green apple that looks freshly picked. If your jaw could hit the floor, it would have. You've only heard rumors about experimental technology in the center, but such things haven't been confirmed, so seeing Teki casually create an apple from nothing but fantasy? Absurd. So much so that all you could do is stare dumbfounded at the fruit in her hands. Teki gradually goes from looking happy to have created the apple to confused to baffled as she looks at both you and Aho who stare in silence.
How the hell have you been able to do that, Tech?
While you're staring in silence, I was making it loudly known as how absurd this whole thing is even by dragon standards.
Always? I mean, can you do it too, Aho?
Teki asked, tilting her head confused at Aho's continued disbelief. Half-started sentences.
What? No, of course... No!
She finally gets out from the mess of words she's been mangling.
Oh, that's weird. Because Youkai can do it just fine. I thought everyone could do it, though.
In a second, Teki has her notebook out, her finger pointing to an unseen part of a page.
Yeah, I have it written here. It's something that all yokai can do.
Tech,
last I saw you could barely use a spell card.
Aho steps forward to be standing behind Teki, looking down at the notebook in her hands.
I ain't never met another yokai in the outside world who could do what you're saying.
Huh? Teki says blindly.
That's really weird. Maybe they're just bad at it.
Tech, you know that would include me, right? Aho's eyes scream with such giant disappointment in the fairy. You're certain that most people would realize their mistake right away.
Yeah? Oh!
Teki reflectively flutters her wings as her eyes widen.
I can teach you how to do it if you want, Aho. I'm sorry I didn't offer right away.
Teki is not most people. Neither is she people. No, Teki is Teki, and Teki is often without an ounce of awareness or tact. Because I know you're a fool. I'm gonna ignore that here. Aho seems statuesque when she speaks. Heck, you can almost swear you can see light leave her eyes as she speaks. Sits down and leans against the wall directly opposing the shrine entrance. Well, you finally speak up.
Even if you didn't use any food, you still give you guys sweets and way too much food before dinner.
Speaking a bit quickly, but it's just because you're trying to regain your footing after being taken off balance after learning Teki could totally break the economy with ease. Yo, it's like the money-making recipes. And fuck, stop!
Nothing I made was wrong, though. I made her apple slices with peanut butter, lamb chops, fried sweet potatoes, banana bread, waffles with some syrup, and even some peaches. None of those are sweets.
Teki puffs out her cheeks as her wings flutter even more.
Those are all sweet, though!
You shout back. More so in shock at the selection of food she gave Igai. Most of the selection of food she gave Igai seemed fine than actual anger.
That's still way too much food. And what about the ice cream?
I think your blood is actually boiling when you point out that last part. Need some ice cream on Igai's lips for goodness sake.
Well...
Teki makes a quick retreat to put herself further under the Katatsu, leaving her legs completely hidden from view.
You guys seemed really sad when you and Aho weren't back yet, so I thought I'd make something to cheer her up.
Ah. Does make you feel a bit guilty. Since that's why Teki gave ice cream to Igai, then the part wouldn't have happened if you planned the trip out better. But still, if you're gonna make food for Igai, then you should have at least told me before I left. I would have been fine working with you on how much you can give and what food she should have. Jeez. It's really silly that Teki would do something like this even after you gave her explicit instruction on what not to do before leaving. Hiko. Aho's rough voice calls your attention away from whatever you're about to say next. More curious as to why the dragon is speaking up. Sure, Teki will listen to Tad more closely. Don't get upset that the kid likes sweets, will ya?
She likes sweets and she likes sweets. Lay off her about that. You see out of the corner of your eye, you guys' eyes widen a fraction as Aho speaks. Actually, think for a second. You see a slight smile on her face too. And more ice cream. It's just peachy. Aho, you say, sighing in frustration. I get that. But she should try other kinds of food too. And Igai. You change who you're dressing and turn to Igai. If you keep eating only sweet foods, you'll just end up hating them. It's not that you mind Igai even eating sweets. Heck, even though most will taste good to you, on occasion you'll have one or two. But just having the same kind of food day in, day out won't do your taste buds any good. It's not wrong that you want Igai to have a balanced diet. Sorry, big sis. Igai speaks up while avoiding your gaze. Is it really that harsh? I'll be better next time. God, your heart is breaking hearing Igai sound like she's on the verge of crying. First she looks towards you coming back, and then when you do, she sees you immediately yelling at her. Definitely not the kind of hate she was hoping to see from you. It's fine, Igai. No, you'll do just that, you say, trying to reassure her of your good intentions. Then bend down to raise her head so she could see you, and in turn your doppel. Huh? Why does she look even more worried now? I know, big sis. She mumbles as she moves back slightly. You stand up, worried you were too reactionary here, which, yes, you likely were, and now you're having to take in the consequences of your actions. You've reached too far too quickly into what Igai and Teki were doing without knowing a thing. Oh, we got another skill. Hidden from everyone else's view, you give a light touch to the hand fan to your lights underneath your sleeves. Quickly, you switch your allotment to allow yourself to use the hierarchy skill, Newest Fragment. While it's a bit of a stretch, a group of people around you right now might be considered an organization by the skill. Thankfully, when you activate it, it does indeed work, and the insight you gain is immediate and concerning. The Hakare Family Alliance, leader Miko Hakare, heir Kiseki Igai, Muscle. Okay, we got Muscle Zenshi Zeno Aho. I'm gonna just call her the right thing, okay? Brain Shoma Chojo Tomo, assistant A Teki, an asshole Choa Kyohi. This section you feel iffy on? Okay. Everything before was fine. I think I remember when you were writing this, it's like, okay, I gotta give you guys like an emergency allotment switch. Hang on real quick. I think that's kind of where this part came from. It's neither the labels, the people, nor the positions that draws your concern, though. Instead, it focuses around the relationships between each and the weaknesses arising from them that worries you. I always focus on the safety of both Igai and Teki, with signs that if anything were to happen to either, she'd lose whatever loyalty she has to you. It's also still likely that, if left alone, both her and Tomo might wind up hurting each other. Kyohi, as someone expected, holds no loyalty to anyone else in your organization, and you're almost certain that if there were another option, she wouldn't be working with you at all. Tomo has the least you could draw from, other than some concern for Igai and hatred for Aho. In fact, you could barely even say she's part of your organization at all. It's a relief that, unlike everyone else, Teki has no indication whatsoever that she'd betray or abandon you, or anyone else in the organization for that matter. The most concerning, and we're hoping to learn about through the skill, is Igai. Her loyalties are tied strongly right now between everyone except Kyohi. In fact, other than Kyohi, you're the one she's most unsure about right now. Can't get an exact read on why that is, but considering how you both scared her earlier today, and when waking up, and berated her as soon as you came back to the shrine, yeah, it's an easy guess as to why. In fact, when looking at everyone in the room right now, you can almost feel a subtle tension throughout, but Igai refuses to look at anyone and keeps fidgeting around. Teki keeps quickly opening her notebook, closing it, looking at one of the three of you in the room as if she's going to speak, or opening her notebook again to repeat the process. And Aho stares silently at everyone but refuses to speak a word about what's on her mind. I'd like to say, what does everyone want for dinner, and happily have everything go back to what you wish to be normal. But at the minute, feels like you have to keep a slow pace with everyone. If you want to talk to anyone right now at all, you just take some time alone for yourself. It's what you need. Maybe that's exactly what none of you need. Okay, we're at the next section. We're going to stop here. We're going to stop here, and since we're starting at the beginning of a new section, instead of stopping in the middle of one like we had to do last time, I'll be able to just copy and paste this, and we'll be able to click the correct header next time. Go. Okay, so when I first read this part, when you first wrote it, there are so many instances of a character saying, "I'm sorry, Miko. I'll try harder next time." I thought that was all intentional. I thought that was supposed to mirror Medi. Because Medi's the first one to say that. And then Miko figures she won't, even though she wants to. And she's like chill with that. And then you have Teki say it to Miko, echoing Medi. And now we have Igai saying it, again, echoing Medi. And instead of being chill about it, Miko is actually still like really frustrated and upset. And that sort of like shows, to me, I thought that kind of like hinted at some sort of like difference in the dynamic between the relationship she has with these new people she's met, as opposed to like Medi. And they're all promising her the same thing. And they're all promising her the same thing with the exact same phrasing. And as a result, I thought like maybe Aho was gonna like, maybe not Aho, like Aho would be the only candidate, the only possibility. But like I was certain, I would have guessed that like maybe Aho would have called her out on this. That Aho would have like, especially the moment where like, well, okay, it's fair to say because Aho doesn't know Medi that well, right? But especially the moment where Aho's like trying to explain to Miko, like, look, Teki's fine, she's just, and then Miko interrupts, like, she's forgetful, and she uses like the same language to promise to be better that Medi uses. Medi, who is also forgetful, which Miko fully acknowledges. I was expecting Miko to get called out on that by somebody, but then it never happened, which is kind of weird because the phrasing is the same. And I think when I asked you about that, I think when these parts were new, I think you said that was unintentional, which was interesting to me. You wish I wasn't both a participating... You wish I weren't both a participant and reader? You would have loved to have me as a beta to bounce back all your thoughts and spoiler stuff and get suggestions like this? Well, I mean, the benefit I have because from being in that position is that I would say it's harder for me to spot things like this in real time. I need the benefit of hindsight. I need to see the actual idea and execution to be able to, like, kind of analyze it in that way. I feel like that's probably how my brain works. Because I can think of, because if you were to, like, bounce these ideas off me, I could probably imagine them conceptually, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to know exactly how you're going to execute those ideas, right?
Like, you could tell me, like, oh, I'm gonna do, for the next part, or for, like, this sequence of events, I'd like to do, A, B, C, and D. And it's like, conceptually, I could picture that and be like, okay, A, B, C, and D. Fine. But then when you get to the actual execution, it's like, what I see might not have been what I imagined, because you probably might have, like, had something different in mind, like, you know what I mean? So seeing the finished product gives me, so like, even if you were to do that and I saw this finished product, like, I'd be like, okay, this is different from what you said, or different from what I imagined when you described it, is like how my reaction would be if something like that were to occur. The problem there is too, I would say, is that part of the problem there is then it would become harder in some respect to spot some of these things. And the reason for that is because I would have the context that somebody who's just a normal reader wouldn't have at all. Meaning there's probably a lot of things I'd be willing to overlook as a result. And possibly not for the best. So in that way, being a reader gives me the benefit of, like, hindsight, and I get to see things in their intended context. Or at least that's one argument I can make for preferring to be, like, a normal reader, rather than, like, rather than the guy you bounce the ideas off of. Even though I understand that would be extremely beneficial to you as the writer. I get that. And that would be, like, I'd be fine with that, but, like, yeah, I don't know. It's two very different perspectives, in regards to providing feedback. You'd have to kind of, like, change the way you think about it, and if you fail to do that, then you're not doing the job you're meant to be doing as well. Anyway. Yeah, let's see. We're currently on page... I'm not going to count this. We're going to scroll down. We're on page 129 of 201, meaning we have... 72 pages remaining. It's going to take at least 2 more streams. Where did we start? 87. We started on page 87, and we've finished at 128. So we've gone through about 40 pages. That's actually a really good pace for us. That's actually a really good pace for us on Post Fantasy. And that's with me taking 30 minutes to start reading at the beginning of the stream, and that's with me constantly, like, interrupting myself when I spot something or when I see something in chat. Pretty decent pace, actually. Am I getting better at reading? No. I know for a fucking fact I'm not. Also, I gotta end this stream sooner or later because I got a drawing to finish. Hang on, let me see. Oh, whoops. That's how I want to open. Oh my fuck. Bro, why can't I just open my own fucking software? Fuck! I fucking hate when this button does that. I have a macro to open up Clip Studio Paint, and every time I press it, occasionally, it fucking minimizes everything, and that's annoying as shit. Let me see if I could show what I've got. Where is Lipsio paint? There it be. Should I show what I have so far, or am I just gonna fucking humiliate myself? Am I gonna fucking hate it the second I see it? I went low effort. But it's almost done. All I gotta do is just add the little finishing touches I normally add. I don't know where you would find a beta reader either. I'm not, yeah. What actually is like a beta reader? Is that like, is the meme that like you just have somebody to bounce ideas off of and just say like, okay, well this is what I plan, this is what I intend with this, that, and the other. Like, how ask the question and try and like think of solutions in regards to like, how would I go about this, like that kind of thing. Bounce ideas, help with spell checking, and get general feedback. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a friend who I would talk about. I haven't talked to him in years, but I had a friend who I would talk about a lot, about like my art and like writing projects and ideas and stuff. And he was pretty good about being somebody I could like bounce ideas off of. And I could like freely discuss that stuff with him. He's like really good at like pointing out like flaws in my art, and also like pointing out like parts where I can improve. And I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, maybe I should try that out. And then I would, and like I'd get used to like try to get used to drawing in that way. It's like, you know what? I think this is helping. Like he was super good about that. So in that respect, I think yeah, that's something that would be helpful. In terms of like spell checking and general feedback, I don't know, because with him, it was more on like the conceptual level, right? Like on the planning level where I would like discuss things. It wasn't really at the finished product level. Because a lot of things would be like ideas I would think of like throughout the day, and like I would just kind of like discuss them with him. Oh, it's musical spoilers. But it's fine. Anyway, that's gonna be it for now. Thanks everybody for watching, for stopping by, for chatting. See you all next time on Story Time. That'll be next Thursday, probably, most likely. Assuming everything is the same. And also, tomorrow on the other channel, I'm going to be streaming Trails from Zero. So that'll be fun. I don't think Bob can watch those streams anymore because we've gotten to chapter 1, and that's where some spoilery stuff starts to show up. If he had already finished second chapter, I wouldn't mind as much if he kept watching. And if he had finished third by now, I especially wouldn't mind. But because there's some little bit of spoilery things that happen and show up in early Zero, so it's like, yeah. He used to watch Zero. He watched literally one stream of the prologue, which has like literally no Trails in the Sky spoilers. the prologue and Trails in this the prologue of Trails from Zero has literally no Trails in the Sky spoilers. It's literally just the SSS meeting each other and getting used to working together. The spoilers don't show up until the beginning of Chapter 1. Who cares about Geofront grinding to save some little punks? And then getting bailed out by Arios. Looking at each other's weapons in Zero was It was better when Gaius, Elliot, and Reen did it. I was just about to make fun of Cold Steel for doing the same thing. Because Cold Steel does exactly the same thing. Can't say it's dumb in one and like it's like it was better here. The same shit. That hasn't happened in any other game you played? Yeah. Well, the idea is like these are people who've never met and they're having to fight together. So like in order to do that effectively, they have to... What the fuck? They have to like know what they're working with as a team. And it's like it's a story game, so like obviously that's gonna be like how they go about it, right? It's like establish like these people are going to be working as a team from this point forward, so they're going to like evaluate each other in this way. It's like the whole point of the mission in the Geofront. It's the whole point of the orienteering exercise. Anyway, it's getting late. I need to finish that drawing, so we're gonna maybe transition to a different track. Or actually, no. You know what? It's my channel. It doesn't matter. You don't need to see my name in the thumbnail. You know it's me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good night.